Yeah, that's
There
why.
we go. All right, now it's working. I forgore. Why didn't the Twitter make the post though? Oh, I think it just did.
All right, now we're up. There's the ad.
Anthony loves to see ads.
I love ads.
Now you like ads all of a sudden.
Oh, post. There we go.
All of a sudden, bro likes ads.
Yeah, man. And we got a Yankee ad. Isn't that amazing?
Watch the full ad.
Again, I'm not skipping. I'm watching the full ad.
So, gentlemen, we up? Are we live right now?
We are. We are indeed live on YouTube.
What it do?
What's going on, guys? Who's in the chat?
There's one person watching, bro. Shout out to you, bro, for that one person watching. We love you. We appreciate you. And we're going to have some good content coming your direction in just a minute. So stay tuned.
All right. Let me pull up the stream just to make sure we're
Yo,
good.
Anthony, you done with drinking Coca-Colas, right? Can you just tell everyone in chat you're done drinking Coke?
We know it's Cap.
Kevin, if Gobert hit a Schnoobert, then how many Schnooberts are in a Boobert?
This man Kev, bro.
Thanks for the shout out, man. Can't wait for said content.
This man Kev about
Is
to
he
add.
talking about me?
Probably.
Oh,
More than likely that's the case.
The live stream is behind on us when we're watching it.
Well, yeah, obviously it's like a normal
he's
10
talking
to
about
15
me, bro.
seconds.
He's literally talking about me.
I don't care, bro.
Because he was the one person in the chat, and I'm like, shout out to you, bro. And it was him in the chat. But listen, Kev, you about to make me act up, boy.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo, my fault.
We have five people watching. Whoever's in the chat, say what's up. Are there any returnees from the first chat and first live stream? We're going to get right into all our stuff.
Yep, we'll get into it shortly. We'll let everyone kind of come in, settle in.
Yeah.
Wait, so why is there a delay?
For like if you're gaming, for example, it prevents people from stream sniping you.
What does that mean?
But
Like they can queue into the same game as you and just like key you and like you're playing.
Oh.
Is there a way we can deactivate that?
Nope,
Damn.
not a chance at
I
all.
wish.
So also make sure you like the stream. If you're here, drop a like on it. That way, it helps the algorithm out,
Kevin said, don't turn around. You're going to poke Gio in the eye.
What the hell? The hell does that mean?
His
My
nose.
nose.
Yeah.
Kevin's waking Gio up. This is good, though.
Yeah, we need it. Gio's been like half asleep all day.
Yeah, guys. I don't know if you guys know. Obviously, you don't.
No.
But
don't
I've been
tell.
away for quite some time, and I have not gotten any sleep in the past 4 to 5 days. So bear with me. If you see me dozing off, just like type in the chat like, yo, Gio, wake up, bro. Like, it's not funny. Wake up.
All
Gio,
right.
just wake up, man.
So yeah, I'm here. I might do some push-ups in between to wake myself up. So
That'd actually be kind of funny.
I'm actually gonna do that. I think I should right now.
Do it.
No. Go
You won't.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Gio's gonna get up and do push-ups right
Lord.
now.
Here we go.
I'm not moving any cameras.
No. All right. 70 of y'all in the chat. Say what's up. Let us know who you are.
Come say hi.
Those were the worst push-ups I've ever seen in my entire life.
He could do more than you.
Kevin said, yo, wake up, Gio.
Now you have to wake up, Gio. That's wild. That is wild. Kev said live action training sesh.
No, there's no training sesh. It's literally just fake running sessions every day, all day, every day.
Yeah, definitely. But what's good, y'all? We live. It's our second ever stream. Still trying to kind of figure things out. If we sound a little bit lower, we're sorry. We're trying to figure things out on how to like raise volumes and everything of that nature. But we here.
Yeah.
We live. Got our brand new system working here. Got 7 people in the stream on YouTube. I think we have like 15 people right now on Twitter. So what's up, y'all?
Yeah.
How are we on this fine evening?
Yeah. Kevin said he's trying to be like you.
Yeah. Yo, Kev, you acting like I won't act up right now, bro.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
yo.
Please.
Hey, yo, my fault.
Hey, yo.
Please.
That's
My
wild,
fault,
bro.
my fault.
Bro,
All right.
that is
Yo, let's talk
crazy.
basketball, boy.
Who's
Let's
in
talk
the chat?
basketball.
Let's go.
Let's talk some basketball,
Let's
boys.
talk basketball.
Yeah.
So obviously, what do you want? Do you want to start with what happened last night or
I think we should.
yesterday afternoon?
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about it, man. Game 7 between this has been one of the best playoff series we've had in quite some time between the OKC Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. Now, obviously, just to give you all some context to kind of bring the series back a little bit. Game 1, OKC led pretty much the entirety of the time. Denver stormed back. They chipped away. OKC fouled up 3 about 3 or 4 different times. Then Chet missed 2 free throws. One thing led to another. Aaron Gordon hits a game-winning 3. And Denver wins by, I think, 1. It was either 1 or 2 points. And they stole game 1 completely. Game 2, Thunder put the belt to booty. It wasn't even close. I think they won by like 30 or 40 or something of that nature. Then, again, Denver storms back in game 3. Aaron Gordon hits a game-tying 3 in the corner. And Denver completely outclassed, out-hustled, dominated OKC in overtime. All right, so Denver's up 2-1. Games 4 and 5, Denver had the lead in both of them. And OKC just were the better team in the fourth quarter. Denver completely choked both games away, hence forcing Game 5 and Game 6 and all that stuff. Game 6, Denver came to play at home, man. They really played well. J-Dub was absolute garbage on both ends that night.
Yeah.
And then obviously it all leads up to a Game 7. The 2 greatest words in sports is unfortunately becoming an overrated term because they're just all blowouts. And that's exactly what happened yesterday afternoon in OKC. So the Thunder won by like 30-something. It just was not close. It was like a 40, 50-point game at one point. It was just bad basketball in all aspects of the game on both ends of the floor. Just not good. So, guys, I'll go to you first, Gio, since you are a temporary Nuggets fan. What's your thoughts on Denver's performance or lack thereof yesterday?
Specifically in Game 7, you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, so obviously it's clear the NBA is rigged.
Okay. All
It's
right.
clear as day. Listen, Adam Silver and his boys, they put this together. They want the young players to start taking the reins of the NBA, okay? So they want to get Jokic out of there. They want to get Curry and Jimmy Butler out of there. They want to get all the older players who have rings already. They don't want them to compete for a ring anymore. They're basically saying it's a new era. It's time for the young guns to get in there. That's why AE's in there. That's why SGA's in there. That's why Jalen Brunson how old is Jalen Brunson?
28.
Okay, young enough.
There was a post. It was like rising stars. Like, why is Jalen Brunson there?
Yeah, he's kind of old-ish.
Yeah.
He's in his prime. And then who's the other guy? Tyrese Halliburton.
25.
So they got all the young guys, and I like it, but you can't just rig a game so blatantly like that. You can't just do that. And why is it rigged, you may ask? Gio, why is it rigged? I'll tell you right now. So, Nuggets, in the first quarter, they were up a good 13 points, right?
Yeah.
They blew that lead fair and square. Nothing to complain about there. But
There should be complaints about that. You're telling me in a Game 7, Adelman benches both Murray and Jokic?
yeah,
As soon as that happened, they went up they literally had a 13-0 run.
yeah.
That can't happen.
Yeah, that's true. I'm talking about on the referees end.
Oh, okay,
There's
fair.
nothing for me to complain to the referees.
Okay.
Because they were doing their job in the first quarter. They were doing it. They were calling a fair game.
Yeah.
But that started to get out of hand towards the end of the second quarter.
Yeah.
Where they were calling, or there was a lot of no calls, actually, where OKC started getting very physical on the defensive side of the ball. And then all of a sudden, it completely rattled Denver, and they couldn't generate anything because the physicality level was just a whole nother level. And it was certain calls that were being called earlier in the game and earlier in the series that were not being called in that specific run that OKC went on to basically end up winning the game and blowing them out.
Right.
A run that Denver could not recover from. So if you ask me, the refs allowed that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
They allowed OKC to be super physical with Jokic, super physical with all the other guys, Gordon, Murray, all these guys. And they gave this game to OKC, if you ask me. That's my opinion. What do you guys have to say about it?
Let you talk about that, Antoine.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited to turn on Game 7. I was watching Napoli try to wrap up their Serie A championship, which didn't end because it was a draw, so they have to wait till next week. So I turned the game on, and I'm like, oh, wow, they're already down by 20. I said, I'm going to change this. I had it on in the background, but I was just not expecting that kind of blowout in Game 7 because I wasn't even looking at the score on my phone either.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. Watching the rest of the game, it was just OKC from there on out. I mean, it was a really great series nonetheless. It was, down to the very last game, it kind of just, got away from them. So, I really don't know what to say. I mean, Jamal Murray did not show up Game 7. We know that. Aaron Gordon tried his best to play through his injury.
Mm-hmm. He played well.
Jokic left everything out there on the court. MPJ,
Ass.
I don't know what's going on.
I wouldn't say Jokic left it all out on the court yesterday. He was not very good. And it's one of the not the worst game Jokic has played, but definitely one of the not as good games we've seen from Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just what happens when you have that type of gravity where you're getting just like triple, quadruple teams coming at you from like all different sides.
Mm-hmm.
And Denver doesn't have a good second option. That there's just nowhere.
Yeah.
They just try and force it to Jokic on every possession. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a major problem. And like I said, got to give credit where it's due to Aaron Gordon. A grade 2 hamstring that takes like over a month to recover from.
Crazy.
We've seen James Harden do this a few years ago, and he hasn't been the same since because he did it for 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
He came back in Game 5, played in Game 6 and 7 as well. And Harden, he still does not have that sort of mobility and that type of stuff. So, it's not necessarily, what's the word? He definitely risked his career because with that type of injury, who knows what it could lead to? And he looked half decent out there. I'm not even going to lie. Like, that's the most impressive thing to me. And, you can't say anything negative about Aaron Gordon the way he's played this whole playoffs. After all the injuries he's had this season, comes in, he has a game winner against the Clippers, hit the game winner against the Thunder, had the game tying 3 against the Thunder, and then this. I mean, there's really not much else. I think the main difference here was J-Dub. First 6 games, he was guarded by Aaron Gordon. He was terrible in Game 6. He was terrible most of the series. Game 7, he showed up. Why? Aaron Gordon couldn't guard him. Couldn't move. And that's the big difference.
Wow. That's a good take. What do you have to say?
I mean, I know it's going to be an interesting conference finals nonetheless with Minnesota now.
Yeah.
Waiting for them. I'm curious to see how that series plays out, if it's going to be a 5, 6, or a 7, or even a sweep, which I doubt. But now we're getting down to the very end. It's, where the champions are made of in this series and then going into the NBA Finals. We're going to get into, like, the 4 teams tomorrow on the podcast and what they need to do this offseason to just, get ready for next year, whether it's coaching changes or players. But Denver next year is going to be back. I do think they run the same team out there again, sadly, with minor changes. And minor changes, I mean the whole bench, probably. Deron Holmes will be back. That's center help because they have no backup centers, obviously. Yeah. I do think DeAndre Jordan does not come back. Of course, easy decision. Russ, I don't think Russ comes back. I think he's out. And I don't know if
you have to explain that.
I don't know if you saw the odds, but his favorite team to land this offseason is.
Need you more into the mic. No one can hear you.
Hobby. his team that he's favorited to land is one of our favorite teams. So if you can guess between the two, it's either the Nets or the Knicks.
Is it the Knicks?
No.
The Nets?
Yeah.
Oh wow. That would be nice.
I don't know why, but the Nets are the favorites to land Russell Westbrook. And
pretty cool.
He signed a 2-year deal with a player option. So he can opt out at the end of this year. Either opts in for the $3.4 million and takes it, or he opts out, goes elsewhere in free agency. And even if he opts in, he either stays or he requests a trade out and they can find a home for him.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really take any of those odds seriously. you don't know what the player is going to do. He could wind up anywhere.
I think he's going to OKC.
That'd be funny if he did.
I think he's going to OKC.
That would
Well,
be sick.
You know why?
He's not, but there's no room. Like,
That's what SGA said to him after the game.
okay, yeah, definitely.
He said, "I'm bringing you back, homie."
Come join.
Yeah, definitely.
No, literally, he said that.
Did he actually?
No, seriously.
I'm gonna need to
I
see
was
some proof.
scrolling on IG, and then it was Russ and SGA hugging. It was almost kind of sus the way they were hugging.
You made that assumption.
No, like everyone in the comments was saying it. SGA's recruiting Russ. SGA's recruiting Russ. SGA's smiling in his face like this, holding his back like this. He's like laughing in his face like, "Yeah, you're coming here."
I doubt that, but okay.
You'll see.
I also semi-doubt that.
Russ to OKC, you'll see. And how great of a story would that be?
It would be
It would
great.
be good, yeah. Imagine Russ comes there and then KD gets traded to the Thunder.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly. I was
gosh.
gonna say the exact same thing. And Harden moves there. No, I'm joking.
No,
Imagine.
Harden's definitely not going back.
Serge Ibaka comes out of retirement.
Kendrick Perkins comes back.
Ew, no.
Plays center for the OKC
No,
Thunder.
definitely not. Speaking of Kendrick Perkins,
Yeah.
Michael Malone's going to be joining all those guys on ESPN
Yes.
for the conference finals coverage.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, Malone.
Oh,
Just today they announced it.
yeah,
That's
that's
gotta
gonna
be
be
good to
that's
see.
gonna be some awkward energy.
Yeah.
Malone
Oh,
sitting
what?
there with Stephen A, Kendrick Perkins, the two guys that bashed him and his best player for years and years.
They're gonna be very happy to see him shaking hands, saying, "Well, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, definitely.
We're happy to have you. We're not saying nothing bad about you guys."
Yeah. Kev said the GOAT Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah,
no
no.
shot.
No.
He also said the Knicks winning it all, but then he said in parentheses, really hope Indiana sweeps.
Listen, I
Yeah,
mean,
he hopes that, but he knows deep down inside Knicks are winning.
But they're
Yeah.
not.
listen, I want the Knicks to go to the finals.
Oh, so now he all of a sudden
Oh,
does.
you're a Knicks fan. I didn't even know.
Yo.
I
You're a
want
Knicks
it to happen. I've come
Bro,
around. I've come around the corner a little bit, and I'll tell you why.
And now they're going to lose because of that.
I've come. I don't want them to win. No, but you know what? I will say one thing. I give major props to my team, who I've been bashing the whole playoffs because I'm saying they're not good enough, and I still believe they're not good enough. But watching the Boston series, these guys show up. I know the regular season was a little subpar at times, but if we're being honest, bro's a Knicks fan, yes. If we're being honest, they showed up when it matters the most, and that is right now. Because once the playoffs start, the regular season means nothing anymore. You come to play for the playoffs. They showed up in both series. Yes, Detroit had some issues, but we're past that. Boston, injuries, they got the brunt end of it like we did last year. It happens.
Exactly.
And now we're playing Indiana. It's a rematch of last year. So I'm the modern day Drake curse. We'll see. If they lose, then yes. But listen, everyone is showing up. Mikhail is showing up.
Yeah.
OG is showing up. Cat is showing up. Brunson is showing up. Everybody is showing up. And I'm here for it. And I've turned the corner and I'm excited for this team going into the next series.
Do you think Tom Thibodeau's a good coach?
The jury's still out on him. I have to see how this series goes. But
that also kind of leads me to believe that maybe this run's not as legit as we think.
Why?
Because Tom Thibodeau's coached his behind off this series.
Thank you.
And that's the thing. And, at the end of the day, were the Pistons and Celtics both injured? Yes. Were there sketchy ref calls in some of the games? Yes. So I agree with Anthony that, based on the situation, Tom Thibodeau's coaching well.
yes.
But do I think this Knicks run is fully legit? No, I still don't. This is their first test. Because what do you notice about every team that's gone home?
first
And what do you notice about
Well,
every
listen.
Well, let me finish. What do you notice about every team that's gone home? And what do you notice about the 4 teams that are still left? Every team that's gone home has had some sort of injury, right? We could break it down. Well, the Heat are kind of an anomaly because they just stink now they lost Jimmy Butler. The Pistons had injuries. The Bucks had injuries. Dame, obviously, his Achilles completely let him down here. The Magic had injuries. Jalen Suggs wasn't playing. That's a huge loss for them. And that's all the teams that lost in the first round in the East, right?
Yeah.
Then obviously the Celtics had injuries and the Cavs had injuries.
Yeah.
So on the West side, the Grizzlies, Ja Morant was hurt throughout the entirety of the second half of the season and even really the whole season. The Clippers, I think, were one of the few teams that stayed healthy, but you had Denver on the other side. It was a pick'em series. It could have gone either way. The Lakers were all banged up, and they also just weren't good enough. And then the Rockets didn't necessarily have injuries. They also just were inexperienced. You were going up against the Warriors team. And then in the second round, the Warriors lost Steph Curry in game 1, And then on the other side of things, the Nuggets were completely beat up throughout the entirety of the playoffs. They had no healthy bodies left by the time the series ended. So look at all these series. Indiana's healthy. The Knicks are healthy. The Thunder are healthy. And who am I missing?
Minnesota.
The Timberwolves are healthy.
Well, listen.
And but that's where I'm getting into the big test, because there's one thing the Knicks have that the other teams don't have, and that's no depth. So that's the test, in my opinion. Their depth hasn't been put into question because everyone stayed healthy.
Are you saying that a Knicks player is going to get injured? Are you prophesying an injury?
No, I'm saying that if everyone's healthy, the depth will power through for Indiana.
Well, I will also say Indiana's test is now the Knicks, because Cleveland played hobbled the whole series. So did Milwaukee. So Cleveland and Indiana both have, not Cleveland, Indiana and Knicks have the same test against each other because they're both healthy. There's no issues. Minnesota and OKC, I think they're both not the underdogs. They're both the big dogs in the West, because I consider Minnesota a top 3 seed, even though they finished in 6th. They just built like a top 3 seed. So
and they were a game out of 4th.
Yeah,
so.
they're both, these two are the big dogs in the West. I think both teams have I don't think Denver had a little rough. Houston was kind of, we knew that was going to fade out, and the Clippers just unlucky for them. But the real test I think is for the East teams, and in the West we'll see what happens, how that pans out.
That was still a nasty draw for the 4-5 game.
For who?
That still bothers me. Clippers Nuggets.
Denver,
yeah.
I mean,
that should not have been a first-round series under any circumstances.
Who else would it be? Every team was good in the West.
Yeah, I know.
It's just how the cookie crumbles for that. Yeah. If they wanted to get it further, win more games, take the regular season seriously, separate yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they tried to do.
Now, I want to get into something that Aaron Gordon said, I think, after the game.
Yes, talk about it.
He was mentioning that the NBA needs to address the issue of rest. He was basically saying that one day in between games is not enough. Players are getting injured around the league. Players are getting injured within the team. And he's saying if they got an extra day of rest, the quality of the games would be much better and there would be less injuries.
Right.
So this coming from an NBA player is pretty big. Like if it was coming from random people like you and me or Stephen A. Smith, even though Stephen A. Smith does have influence, it's not the same as an NBA player saying it. And also a rising NBA player. Aaron Gordon, we all know he was good, but now all of a sudden he's leveled it up.
Exactly.
And now he's saying this, so his platform is that much bigger now.
I agree with you. And there's a lot of reasons why, because the playoffs are the moneymaker for every American sport. The only problem is that the playoffs are at the end of the season where everybody's bodies have gone through hell for 82 games, 16 games, and the bodies are ready to just call quits. Like they're all ready to just tap out. Their bodies are done. And it's the worst time for injuries because their bodies are so done from the whole season. So you got to find a way to preserve the playoffs to prevent this from happening. If you have long playoffs, so be it.
This is where the whole idea of load management came into play.
Exactly.
Right?
But if you don't want your best players out for the best time in your sport. So it's hard because also you can't prevent injuries, but you could subside it tremendously.
What do you mean subside?
Well, the the number one thing is make the series shorter for every playoff. Like they could do they can do 5-game series for the first round.
That's less revenue, less games. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
The NBA is so subconscious about their money. They're never gonna do that. And that's the thing. It's just, in the first round, you couldn't just have on travel days have an extra day off. I don't know why is that? I don't know why it's so impossible. Even still, the Knicks and Pacers didn't have to go to Game 7s.
Right.
So why are they playing on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Play tonight.
Yeah.
There's no need for the Thunder. There's no need for the Thunder and Wolves to play now. The Thunder literally just played a 7-game series.
Yeah.
And even imagine if the Nuggets had won, they just played. I think they played 10 games in 18 days. No, obviously that also incentivizes winning your series earlier. Don't push it to 7, but there's got to be something. There's got to be some rest period.
There has to be. I feel like all we need, Adam Silver. I'm telling this. I'm asking you, Adam Silver. All we need is just one. We don't need 3 games a day or 2 games a day during the playoffs. We just need that one prime time game at night. So that way you can space out the games more. You don't have to have 3 games going on in the same day in the first round, or 2 games going on in the same day in the second round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't need a game at 7:30 and then a game at 10:30. You can just have one of those games. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So find a way to space it out. And we, the fans, we will wait because we want to see a good product.
The only thing is that it prolongs the playoffs to a lot longer than we already have it, and
Need you more into the mic.
oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is that you prolong the playoffs a lot longer than we already complained about it being for almost 2 months.
Yeah.
But if it's preserving but also if players get injured before the playoffs, can't really do anything about it. That's regular season stuff.
Right.
So any way to just preserve it, I know shortening the season's been a topic, but again, you lose revenue there if you shorten the season. So there really is no common answer unless you are giving a lot of rest days in between, especially the travel days. And then, if they're home games, I think every other day is okay. But yeah, they need to find a solution to it, because it's insane. This year we saw a lot of guys drop, and that completely turned the series for the other team that was healthy. And that's kind of the narrative every year for us, is that injuries are what make the playoffs what they are. And the top 4 teams in the playoffs are the teams that are completely healthy, barring any other minor injuries for certain teams. But every other team that's been gone has got hobbled, and players are going to need to recover for next season. It could leave them out for a certain amount of time. Like we saw the Achilles with both Tatum and Lillard will be out with them next year, the whole season. And that's also lost money for those teams as well. They're both faces of the leagues, and you're losing them on the court for Boston. You're losing Dame on the court for Milwaukee. So, the teams have to maneuver for next season. Now the Boston Celtics have to figure out how to prepare for next season for another run at a championship without their best player. And who knows if it will be back even quicker or it'll be longer. It's a whole future thing. So, who's to say some injuries can happen right now in this series? I don't want it to happen, or even in the finals. Then you have next season in jeopardy for some players as well.
Yeah.
So it's a thin thread that we're weaving.
Yeah.
Very easy to break.
This is Adam Silver's NBA, man. It's all like, there's no player protection. That's why the CBA exists. That's why all these players want these really expensive contracts. Because, if you're putting your body on the line like this, you want to be paid the handsome dollars.
Right.
So.
Right. But, I mean, there is technology out there where you can have your body recover at a faster rate. Like, LeBron James spends so much money on his body to recover.
Right.
So there's things out there to use, but the thing is, that's why the players want the money, because you got to pay for those things.
Yeah. So. Alex said the audio's going crazy.
Yeah, define crazy, Alex.
Is it like Is it like Matrix?
Yeah, Prince and Kev, let us know if whatever Alex has said is true.
No, it sounds fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alex.
He said there's an echo.
There is an
That's
echo.
because the fan's on your donut.
Yeah, that is my...
Turn the fan off.
That is my fan, Alex. I will turn it off. It is quite hot in here, but I will turn it off.
Man, put it right in front of the mic. I wonder if that's going to stop it. If not, just close the door, maybe.
No.
Open hallway. No. Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, because that was the issue last time when we were recording with Fetty.
Yeah.
So
we're good. What's going on, Alex? How you doing today? What's up, Prince? What's up, Kev? We got 30 people on Twitter. We got 7 currently on YouTube. I forgot to post it in the Discord. I literally just did it like 2 minutes ago. If you guys do want to join the Discord, I'm actually going to put the invite link in the chat, and I'll pin it for you all to join. Just got to open up Discord right now. But yeah, obviously, there was. Do we want to cover the other second round series, or do you want to do that tomorrow?
We save that for tomorrow.
yeah,
Save for tomorrow?
I mean,
okay, we'll save that for tomorrow.
Yeah,
then.
we know the narrative.
I guess what we can do is, take the next hour or so, and we can, fully break down the conference final series. We just do a deep dive today into the matchups and everything, and at the end of the stream, we'll give our full official predictions for each of the series. So, is there do you want to go in order of where it's going to start? Do you want to start with the East and go to the West, or do you want to do the West first, go to the East? What are we saying?
Did you see what Alex just said? He had 2 streams open at once. He had Discord and YouTube open.
You
at the same
freaking
time.
legend, you.
That is why.
But yeah, which one do you want to start off with, Gio?
Let's
To West.
Start with the West?
No. Oh my God. Fine.
Might as well. He's
I'm
the
fine
Knicks
with
fan. We
that.
might as well close off with the Knicks. But
Yeah.
let me put the Discord link in the
Yeah.
pinned chat right now. So let's see. So the Discord is going to be here.
Alex.
Join that up.
Bianca.
Alex, let us know my cat just entered the room. That if you see us calling for her.
Yeah, she might jump on Gio, but
No,
it's always possible.
she's interested in what's over there.
That's fair. We'll leave her to her endeavors and everything of that nature. So you want to start with the West, Gio, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with the Western Conference. So obviously, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll give some context regarding each team's path. So obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder, we just talked about it, won 68 games of basketball this year. They have the MVP in SGA. He's going to win it. They're probably going to announce it for game 1 or whatever, and then they'll present the trophy at some point during either game 1 or game 2. Destroyed a hobbled Memphis in 4 games, and then took an injured Denver to 7 games, or Denver really took them to 7 games. And, that's been the gist of OKC. Minnesota's been a lot more interesting to talk about. You make the big trade in the summer, get Karl Anthony Towns. Really a move that shocked everyone, but also didn't really surprise us, based on the salary cap and the CBA and stuff like that. And they started off the season pretty rough. This Randall Gobert combo didn't really work. Players were getting hurt left and right. And after All-Star break, they really locked themselves in, started really playing well, made the playoffs as the 6th seed, took down the Lakers in 5, and then just took down an injured Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors also in 5 games. So, Gio, I guess just thoughts on both teams so far throughout their playoff journeys. What's been your thoughts on both teams going into this?
Yeah, I mean, these are the 2 teams that are pretty much dominating. It's ever since the All-Star break, these 2 teams have been dominating. The 2 things that stand out on these 2 teams is really their defense. Timberwolves, they can lock in on defense. They got, what's his name? Jaden McDaniels. They got Anthony Edwards. He can lock it in. Julius Randle, and of course Gobert, which I'm not a big fan of, but he's a good defender. I'll give it to him.
He's been playing really good, bro.
Did you see the Gobert news in his personal life that happened this past week?
What happened?
We're not going to talk about it on stream because it's a little sensitive. But
It is.
yeah, we'll talk about it. Basically, him and his significant other split. But we'll leave all of it at that.
Bianca's staring.
So, yeah, but
Locking you down.
Anyways. And
yeah.
then OKC. Obviously, their defense is insane. I mean, Caruso's been on a historic run for the Thunder.
Yeah.
Lou Dort's hitting threes left and right. Game 5 or Game 6? Lou Dort, who went crazy.
Game 5.
Game 5, Lou Dort was crazy.
Yeah.
Huge for them. Of course, SGA and J Will, great
J-Dub.
defenders.
J-Dub.
J Dub, my fault.
Yeah.
Jay was the
J-Dub.
taller one.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
J Dub, and then Chet. So it's like both these teams, great defense. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
Who's going to be better, AE or SGA? That's the question.
That is the question. They played earlier in the season, obviously. Anthony Edwards had a game-winning block on SGA. So, could set us up for something really good. And obviously, as far as like matchups go, this is what I'm really curious about bench-wise. Because obviously on OKC, you have Alex Caruso, you have Jay Will, you have Aaron Wiggins, who's always been just really, really solid on both ends. And Kason Wallace. We cannot forget about Kason Wallace. And on the other end, you got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You have Naz Reid, the reigning 6th man of the year. And you have Dante DiVincenzo. Because I know sometimes he doesn't always start. And you can even dip into into the reserves like a Rob Dillingham or Terrence Shannon or anyone of that nature.
Yep.
So they have guys.
They got guys.
These are 2 of the deepest teams that the Western Conference has to offer. And I guess just matchup wise, what are you, besides, Ant versus SGA, what are you specifically looking for in this? We'll go to you for this, Antoine. Is there a specific matchup in the series you're really keying in onto?
I'm looking for the offensive output of the 2 stars in this whole series, SGA and AE.
He just said
He literally, yeah. I
That
literally
is what-
said.
Can I answer, please?
That is what I'm looking for.
No.
All right,
I
well,
want to
I-
answer this.
Yeah, I'll ask you.
I'm looking forward to Julius Randle because he destroyed Draymond Green
Yeah.
in the previous series.
Bro, did you see he talked about it on his podcast?
What'd he
He said
say?
Randall gave him like no answer. Like there was nothing he could do.
Really? Draymond said that?
Yeah.
Wow. A very rare, humble moment from Draymond.
I know.
Let me finish.
I also know what I'm looking for.
What's up, Alex?
All right, bro.
Julius Randle versus Chet.
Yeah,
That's a good
what I
one.
was saying.
That's a good one.
That's what I was getting ready to say before this guy cut me off.
Yeah, I know. My fault.
All right, what's up, Gio? What do you got?
No, yeah. So basically, I want to see how Julius Randle can play against the best defense in the league. That's gonna be huge. Julius Randle versus a 7'3" Chet.
7'1".
7'1". My
Yeah.
fault. 7'1" Chet, and then also, I mean, all the other guys they can throw you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Alex Caruso was locking up Nikola Jokic. Like, what are we doing here? If he can lock up Nikola Jokic, he can play defense against Julius Randle. So
Yeah.
they got guys.
I will say that I want to see Chet be the number 2 overall pick in this series. I know, keep in mind, Wemby was the first overall pick, but if Wemby was not there, Chet would have been number 1.
Right.
Well, Chet wasn't in his draft class. He was the number 1 pick.
True.
He was number
The
2
year
pick
before.
after Paulo. Because
Oh,
he
you're
got
right.
hurt.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Number 2 was Brandon Miller
Yeah,
in Wemby's year.
I want to see Chet be that number 2 overall pick, that top 2 pick that OKC took him
Mhm.
to build around. I want to see the scoring tick up a little bit. I want to see the defense. Hartenstein's been doing a little better. And don't forget, this is only the start for OKC. They have these draft picks still for a lot of time. And don't forget, Nikola Topic could be coming next year, and he was the best point guard in last year's draft class before the injury happened. So if he's back to that full health when they wanted to draft him, oh my goodness, they might be into some more trouble next year for OKC. Trouble meaning for other teams.
Was he the best point guard?
I think he was around top 1, top 2.
Stephon Castle, I would still give that to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
probably
that's
still
fine.
give it to him.
Well, pre-draft process, Castle was.
He was still better than Nikola Topic.
All right.
Topic was going to go like top 6.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
But I agree in the sense that like Chet, I don't feel like Chet really needs to do anything extra. I think this series, the whole swing factor in this series is Jalen Williams. I mean, you saw last year against Dallas, he was awful. I mean, it looked bad. Like he looked like a net negative on both ends of the floor. And even in this series, he didn't even look that good anyways. He only showed up in game 7 because Aaron Gordon wasn't guarding him anymore. So he kind of had an easier time. So now against this Wolves defense, you imagine what? I assume SGA is going to be guarded by Jaden McDaniels.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Ant's going to want the J-Dub matchup. They're the same height.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you do that. You obviously put Gobert on Hartenstein. You put Randall on Chet. And then that just leaves you with Mike Conley on, what's his face?
Lou Dort,
or whoever that other small guy is. Yeah. Conley, you're going to have to hide defensively, obviously.
Yes.
But he was playing really good defense against the Warriors in the last round. He drew, I think he drew like 3 or 4 shot clock violations when he was the primary defender. So it's definitely possible. And, at the ripe age of 98, he's still got it, man. Unk still got it.
He's not looking bad.
Yeah. And I mean, on the other end of things, obviously, you're going to put, my guess is you're going to put Lou Dort on Anthony Edwards. That feels like the
Caruso.
safe
Yeah, you'd
bet.
have to.
Caruso doesn't start.
Yeah,
I'm talking about your starting lineup. Yeah.
Lou Dort has to guard. That's the best defender on the team.
Right now,
I think Caruso is easily. If you've been watching the series,
right now they're starting SGA, J-Dub, Lou Dort, Chet Hartenstein, because the double bigs you need to play them, especially when you're going up against Randall and Gobert. So I think, if you give those matchups to those guys, SGA is more than likely going to be on either Jaden McDaniels and more than likely to be on Jaden McDaniels. You obviously put Hartenstein on Gobert. Who do you put Chet on? That's the question. I really don't know. Chet maybe goes on J-Mac and then you put SGA on Conley, or maybe SGA wants the Ant assignment or J-Dub wants the Ant assignment. It's tough to really gauge.
Yeah.
OKC, that's the good thing about OKC. They have they have a plethora of wings.
Oh yeah.
They could do whatever. Like if Dort's on the floor, he's the shortest guy, I think like 6'4", 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
SGA 6'7".
Yeah. And
then everyone else is just a tower.
Right.
Yeah. So very interesting the way. I'm more curious to see though. I'll ask you this, Gio.
Yeah.
What impact do you think the refs are going to have on this series?
Not much. Because look, they have two up and coming rising stars, superstars, I might add. And so I think it's going to be a pretty evenly reffed series. So I don't think they'll have a huge effect on the outcome of games. I think it's going to be decided based on who comes to play that specific day.
I actually disagree with you. I think OKC is going to get away with a lot of contact during the series, like we saw against Denver.
Okay.
I think it's going to, I mean, both of these teams, like their coaches, like Dagnall and Chris Finch, are serial complainers. And we already seen Chris Finch already come out and say it. That like OKC's going to get away with a lot this series.
Wow.
So you just got to dig deep because they're not going to get the calls. That's just how it works when you're going up against this type of team. And look, I said it before the Nuggets Thunder series. The Thunder will lose if SGA shoots under 10 free throws. And I think that basically happened throughout most of the series. There was maybe like 1 or 2 games where he didn't and they won. But I think that's also really important because if they're not calling those types of plays, SGA is going to become too reliant on it, or Ant's going to become too reliant on it. And that's going to lead one thing to another. You got a 13-0 run this way, and the game can get out of hand. And that's really the thing with these two teams. They can really run you out the gym.
But look, when it comes to physicality, both teams can do it.
They can.
Like, it's not just OKC. We get it. OKC is super physical in defense, but so can the Timberwolves. They can be very physical in defense as well.
Right, but what if the ref's only rewarding one side for being physical and the other side's not? Like,
I think they will do that.
I mean, it's hard when you see these sort of inconsistencies. Like let's say for example, Rudy Gobert gets like shoved and they don't call it. The same thing happens to Hartenstein and they call the foul. That's what I'm talking about. The inconsistencies with the referees.
I mean, I saw that with the Nuggets game.
Oh,
I'm not
absolutely.
I don't see that happening in this Anthony Edwards series because I don't know. I feel like the NBA they realize what they have in Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to do that. You know what I mean? So
I know it's tough.
I think Adam Silver will make sure of that, and I think if he hasn't made sure of that, he should do it right now.
To be honest, I don't want Adam Silver to do a damn thing. I want the players to decide both of these series.
Of course.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I don't want the refs to come down to a final call in the final 2 seconds. You know, I just like even if it's like a clear foul at the end, like it was at the end of the Knicks Pistons game 4, call the foul. Like if it's genuinely a foul, call it. I don't like ref politics. I don't like how the fact that like if Randall takes a 3 at the end and he gets bumped in like 3 different spots, I don't want to be like thinking like if SGA took that 3, they would have called the foul.
Right.
That's like my main concern when it comes to the officiating and just the inconsistencies regarding it. And that's my biggest concern with this series specifically, because you know both teams are fresh off of belt to ass from the Dallas Mavericks, and both teams were rightfully exposed in their own regards, and that's kind of what it is. That's why they traded Karl Anthony Towns. And he'll have a proof to point when we talk about their series in a little bit, and that's why J-Dub has a point to prove now. Now I'll ask you, Antoine, if the Thunder lose this series, what do you do about Jalen Williams? What do you do about Mark Daigneault? And what do you do about Sam Presti?
Well, I think you do nothing. You hold on to all 3, and that is because you are building something. J-Dub was a lottery pick. You move, same thing. You keep all your picks. J-Dub, Chet, SGA, Topic. Presti is not going to move on from any of the guys he drafted. It's all part of the core. It's all part of the plan. They are young. J-Dub is young. Chet is young. They're going to grow over time. This is the first major playoff run for them. So I don't think you move on from anybody unless you get a package back that is enticing to move them, which includes picks. We know Presti loves the picks, but
Which includes Russell Westbrook or Kevin Durant. Back
but
to OKC.
you don't move anybody. I think you still build through the draft. I think you need to add. You got to add a little more oomph to the bench, maybe. The starting 5, I think, is still set for next year. It's possible you could add another player, scorer, 3-point shooter preferably, because Lou Dort can't really shoot that well, but he can.
He's improved a lot, to be fair to him.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at for Topic next year coming in. You look at other draft picks. Probably you can pick up some other guys in the off season. You could do a minor trade or 2 for another wing. The big men are set. I feel like that's their thing. The point guards are set. It's just kind of riding with it and just letting it build up. I don't think you go on from anybody, to be honest with you, at this current moment.
I agree.
Really?
No.
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think you move on from anybody.
I think the only way you keep Jalen Williams on the team is if you win a championship. I think if he continues to play like this and they lose, if you win 68 games and you lose to a 6 seed, and you can make the argument that, yes, the Thunder were 2 Aaron Gordon threes away from sweeping Denver. The Nuggets were also 2 bad fourth quarters away from beating OKC in 5 games or 6 games, whatever it was. So there's 2 sides to everything with regard to that series. I I just have still not been sold by the way J-Dub's been playing this postseason. It's just not good enough. He really needs to show that he first-time All-Star. Keep in mind, first-time All-Star. I believe he's still on his rookie deal. He's going to command a lot of money, and you're going to have to pay him. Looking at the payroll right now, he's got a team option for next season. So they either pick up that option and then pay him his poison pill contract, which is going to be really tough to move, or you just trade him in the offseason. I feel like this is very tricky because after this season, you have to pay Chet in 2027. You have to pay pretty much a few of these guys. Like Kason Wallace is up for an extension in a year or two.
Yep.
Isaiah Hartenstein will be up for an extension by that point as well. Lou
Dollars.
Dort as well. It all adds up. I think J-Dub's going to be that casualty piece. And if they keep J-Dub, then it puts a lot more pressure on Mark Daigneault and Sam Presti. Because, like Stephen A. said, Sam Presti's been there almost 2 decades, and he has not won a championship. He keeps standing pat on these picks and building through the draft. And if you're going to keep having these great regular seasons, if this is the second year in a row they're the 1 seed, you crash out before the finals, that's not good. And he's either going to take the hit for that, or he's going to fire Daigneault. Remember, the coach of the year, it lessens your window. It shrinks it completely. And I think the pressure's really on now for them to at least get to the finals. Do something.
Yeah.
Get out of the West.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no issue with that. Alex is saying Topic is the Giddy replacement. I guess. I don't really.
Giddy replacement was Caruso.
Yeah.
Just filled a different role that they needed.
Yeah.
Right.
If OKC does lose, do they get Drew, or is he too old? Drew could be like a Chris Paul type of asset, like the Spurs have.
Put it to you this way, Alex. The Thunder don't win this series without Alex Caruso.
100%.
So if you get that same archetype of player with Drew Holiday, could work. Just feels a little redundant to Caruso. But I don't know. I'd rather them just make a star trade. That's what they're missing.
Like,
bro, even if you trade for Markkanen, do you realize how much that's going to make the offense flow a lot better?
gosh, bro.
Because what? You
2
can
7-footers.
3.
3 7-footers.
Think about it. You go SGA at the 1. Let's say Lou Dort or Caruso or Wallace, whoever's the 2.
Right.
Your 3 is Larry Markkanen at 7 foot. Your 4 is Chet Holmgren at 7'1", and your 5 is 7 foot Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh my God.
Not to even mention that SGA himself is 6'7".
It's a huge team.
Yeah, I think you need to make that, and that type of move, I think, works in the sense that you'll give Danny Ainge what he wants in picks, and they're picks that you're not even going to wind up using at any point, anyways.
Right.
And 2, that essentially opens up the idea for you to now have an all-star that actually can, play in these types of games. Like, I understand how versatile J-Dub is. He's 6'5". He can play the small ball 5. But at the end of the day, if he's going to shoot 3 of 15 from the playoffs or from the field in the playoffs, doesn't that give you more incentive to trade him?
Look, man, I feel like in Game 7, Nuggets versus OKC, I saw J-Dub turn something on. It was like a flip that he switched where he's like, I understand it now.
You mean a switch that he flipped?
What did I just say?
A flip that he switched.
That's how you know I'm tired. But yeah, so no, he flipped the switch.
Yeah, flipped the switch.
He turned it on, and you saw him just take over the game on defense and then also on offense.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he shot above 50% from the field last game.
He was 8 of 11, I think, after the third quarter.
8 of
something
11.
of that nature, yeah.
It's like, what is it, 70 something?
Well,
11's like 80%, yeah.
I mean,
Less.
he had a guy guarding him that couldn't lift his left arm.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
Still, it's AG. It doesn't matter if he's half a AG.
Michael Porter was guarding him in Game 7.
MPJ?
Yeah, he couldn't. Michael Porter's shoulder was so effed up that he couldn't even lift it past, horizontally. So.
Well, listen, all I'm saying is if Jalen Williams, J-Dub, if he can play the way he did in Game 7, and if that carries on throughout the playoffs, I don't see why you move on from him, whether they lose or not.
Right. Well, I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, though, it's like, let's say they do crash out in 5 or 6 games to Minnesota.
And it's not because of him.
Let's say it's not.
Okay.
But you need to make a move. He's the only contract you really can move. Because do you realize the amount of money he's going to want?
If you're Sam Presti, what are you doing? If he plays great, let's say he averages 25 in the series, but they lose, let's say because all the other guys didn't show up.
I'm picking
What
up,
do you do?
I'm picking up the 4th-year option regardless because you need to have all the flexibility you can. And then during that season, I would not extend him this summer. I think that would be a very poor choice if they do You're trapped with that contract. It's gonna be really tough to move on from, unless let's say someone of that caliber. Let's say Giannis doesn't request a trade until mid-season. Then you have options, right?
Yeah.
But if Giannis requests a trade now and OKC's on the list, J-Dub's so out of there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even like, J-Dub's gone, Chet's gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even thinking twice about that.
Yeah.
And you roll out Giannis. I mean, Giannis Hartenstein spacing is going to be terrorist, but, it's going to be awful.
Yeah.
It's going to terrorize their team, but you got to figure something out because, at the end of the day, it's what the team needs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what do you think Jalen Williams is going to get in his DRE? That's, I guess, the thing.
What is a DRE?
Designated rookie extension.
Oh, how much he's going to
I
get?
have no idea.
I'm looking it up right now to see if anything's
As
got
much
it.
as he can, I'll tell you that.
Put it this way. Bobby Marks went on his show yesterday and said Christian Brown's going to make $30 million a year. That might be a little crazy,
Yeah.
but if he's making that kind of money, what's J-Dub going to make? Is it
Probably like
all-star?
50, 60.
Good Lord.
No.
No. I'm gonna
More?
say
Like
that.
45.
He's definitely going to command a max contract. There's
I
no
think
doubt.
I think he'll go for 50. I mean, think of it this way: Brock Purdy's making 53.
That's actually crazy.
That's NFL money
I know that's big
Is that-
time money
Is that per year or is that total?
per year.
per year.
Okay.
Yeah.
53 a year for 5 years. But anyways, we're not talking about the NFL.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
congrats to Brock Purdy on
Yeah,
his big time
seriously.
contract.
Congrats to Brock. Let's go. Go Niners all the
But-
way.
Look, the closest comparison I'm seeing for Jalen Williams, 5 years, 225, which is what Franz Wagner got.
50.
Yeah.
The expectation is a 5-year max at 25% instead of 30. So
Mhm.
figure he gets I think he's going to wind up getting 5 years, 245. That's insane.
That's what 55 like million.
Well, remember the NBA contracts don't work AAV. That's gonna increase.
Yeah.
So he could be making like 50 mil in his final year of that contract.
Yeah.
So Alex said Christian Brown is Chandler Parsons 2.0.
Wow.
That's a pretty interesting.
I don't think
take.
so.
No.
Because Jalen Parsons is more of an offensive
Yeah.
player.
no,
Yeah.
He said OKC needs to resign Wallace. I agree. Kayson's there for the long run.
He's phenomenal. That is another trade that Nico Harris is going to wind up losing.
Yeah, moving Kayson.
Because the trade worked for Lively, but that's when you had Luca on the roster.
Mhm.
With Luca off the team, Lively's
Yeah.
he's been rendered useless the past like 2 months. But
Do we
Kayson-
want to get into our East after this?
yeah, we're closing up with
Yeah.
this series in a bit. There was one stat I wanted to quickly find regarding Kayson Wallace because it was actually insane. It was something about his plus minus. I don't know if any of y'all have seen it or not.
No, Kayson, very under the radar guy when he was drafted. Didn't really get like a big shot from Kentucky, like going to a big basketball school, but like immediately like took off.
He was someone I really wanted the Nets to trade up and get
Okay.
because we had the 20th pick. We had the 20 and 21. I was hoping we were going to package both of them up and then jump forward.
Okay.
But we were eyeing that Sacramento pick at 13. He wound up going at, I think, 10 or 11, something along those lines. But he had the second highest plus minus this series at plus 114. SGA was just one above him. And the lowest opponent field goal percentage on shots outside of 15 feet in the playoffs, Kayson Wallace held his opponents to 28% from the field
Wow.
on those
Wow.
shots.
Okay.
And the first in that was Lou Dort held him to 27%, as well as Rudy Gobert. So I guess we'll quickly talk about Minnesota since we just talked about OKC.
Mhm.
I mean, Gio, Rudy Gobert looks the most impactful he's ever been since his Utah days.
I wouldn't say all that.
I mean, if he's holding,
Because he played against a completely tiny team in the Warriors. Of course he's going to look like that.
yeah,
his-
but Draymond made mincemeat of the towers in Houston.
No, he
So-
did not. Steven Adams was destroying Draymond. Just
He was the only
Steph
one
Curry
that
was
gave
just
him
too good.
trouble. But
Yeah.
Draymond was really taking it to Şengün and taking it to Jabari Smith and whoever was guarding him.
yeah.
So, they made Jimmy Butler pretty much useless that entire series. It was
Yeah.
really just Brandon Pajemski and vibes. It's kind of what it is.
No, Gio, Rudy has had a really good playoffs.
No, he's good.
Really good.
He's a good
playoffs.
player. He's just not great.
Okay.
I don't
You know
know,
what
bro. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great defender. That's how I put it. He lacks a lot offensively for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But
I know that.
I wouldn't put him on the level of Kawhi as far as defense. I think he's just a tier below that. I think Kawhi's an all-time defender. I think Rudy Gobert's a great defender.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how I feel about Rudy.
Rudy,
feel about that.
Rudy dropped some 20-point performances here and there.
Yeah,
But
okay, I'm
we're
not
not
gonna get into
expecting
it.
that.
It's rage bait.
Rage bait's crazy. So I guess then,
Why'd you look at me like that?
There's no reason for it.
is there anything else you're looking for out of Minnesota this series?
Nothing. Just
Jaden McDaniels, baby.
yeah.
I need a 30-point performance
keeping
out
up
of him.
the 25-point game performances every day, every game.
Do you think the series is gonna depend on who performs better? Which Jaden or Jalen? Two different names.
Which
But
Jalen? There's 3. 2 on OKC, 1 on.
Yeah.
No,
No,
Jaden.
'cause it's
Sorry,
Jaden.
you're right,
There's
you're
actually 4 Jalens in this series.
That's crazy.
There's 3. There's Jalen Williams. There's Jalen Williams. There's Jalen Clark.
right. Oh yeah.
So,
that's
but
3.
he's not going to play. Let's be honest.
Nah, he's not.
But yeah, so I mean, the series is gonna go in the direction of which, if either Jaden McDaniels or J Dub, who plays better between those two? That's what I think.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I'm really looking forward to seeing what does Anthony Edwards do in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Bro, it looked really bad against Dallas last year.
It did.
Remember at the end of game 3, they had a chance to, or it was game 2 when Luka hit that shot over Rudy. They were looking to tie the series up. Anthony Edwards had a clear wide open lane, and he passed it to a contested Naz Reid. He was double teamed, and Anthony Edwards just didn't make the right decisions in the clutch, and that just can't happen in this series. He didn't play a bad series last year. He averaged 25, but he shot pretty efficiently from the field. It's just those last second decisions in the fourth quarter, being double teamed, trying to get out of it, didn't really work for him. And that's my biggest concern with Anthony Edwards, in my opinion. But I mean, you said you were looking at the Jalens or the Jaden sort of combination.
The Jays.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Which Jay performs better?
Which Jay does perform better, I guess, is the main question here. So
Yeah.
I guess let's give our official predictions for this series. Since we're on the live stream, break it down game by game, who wins,
Ooh.
and then come to a winner. So whoever wants to start, Antoine, do you want to start off?
I would say. I think I still have. Okay. I will say.
You predicted this conference final, so
I
this
did.
is on you.
Oh, I did. You're right. But
Yeah,
I
into
know
the mic.
I know I had OKC going through, but it's interesting now.
That you did, yes.
I would definitely say they split the first 2.
Okay.
They split the next 2, so it'll be 2-2 going into game 5. I think OKC takes game 5, and then Minnesota wins 6 and 7.
Oh wow.
We switching up.
And I'll go Minnesota.
Is that wishful thinking? Like you want Minnesota to win, or is that because you genuinely think they're
It's
the better
both.
team?
It's both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both.
Now I'm going to give a little bit of both as well because
Okay.
I do want Minnesota to win, and therefore I'm going to have them winning.
Okay.
But man, OKC is tough. I think when they can turn it on, and you saw that in Game 7 how they turn on that switch.
Yeah.
But I hope. I'm gonna go with my gut. I think OKC is gonna win, even though I don't want them to win. I think OKC wins in 6.
Ooh, okay.
I think they beat Denver. I think Denver was really a very good team, even though everyone was saying, "Oh, they're injured. They're not that good anymore. They're washed." They're banged up. They were still a very tough out.
They were.
And OKC handled business in Game 7, and I think honestly, that was probably the hardest series for OKC. I think
Yeah.
this series is going to be end in 6 games.
Okay.
OKC in 6.
All right. Do you have a game break?
You want me to break it down?
Yeah, break
All
it
right.
down. Yeah.
I say
I still need to think.
What'd you say?
I still need to think about who I'm picking.
Okay, so I say OKC wins the first 2.
Okay.
Then Minnesota wins the next 2.
Ooh, okay.
Then OKC wins the next 2.
Okay.
So 2, 2,
Fair.
2.
Okay.
There's one swing factor in this series.
Mhm.
It's the Wolves' 3-point shooting.
Okay.
That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to come out there and shoot 8 of 79 from
Yeah.
3, they have no chance at all. But on the other end of things, if Jalen Williams is going to come out and shoot March 28th from the field, then they're also not winning either. So here's what I got. I think they split in OKC. I think it's pretty similar of what happens in the Denver series. I think OKC takes game 3. I think Minnesota takes game 4. And then I don't know. I do think they split the first 4 games of the series. I think Minnesota takes game 5, and then I think OKC wins the last 2. I want to go. I wanted to say Minnesota. I just don't trust their 3-point shooting. And that's my biggest concern.
OKC in 7.
OKC in 7, siete, sete.
Yeah,
games.
he has the same thing as me, just with OKC instead of Minnesota.
Yeah, I had the same. I had OKC making the conference finals.
Yeah.
But I just had the Lakers. I don't know why, even though when I did everything prior, I had the Wolves going through. But, I think Minnesota's going to just run out of gas.
Okay.
This could end in 6, but I don't know. I don't want to make that claim because both teams have been shooting poorly.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let us know. We got people in the chat right now. We got about 42 of you on Twitter. We got 8 of you in the chat on YouTube. Let us know in the comments before we move on to the East. Who do you got winning this series and how many games? Who's going to be representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals?
Yeah. Drop it down
Yeah, drop it down in the comments.
before we get into the East.
The Wolves have never won a series. The Wolves have never won a finals. The Thunder have when they were the Sonics, but obviously they haven't. Alex said OKC in 6. Gobert becomes a liability on offense. I mean, he is regardless of what they do, but Wolves in
agree with that,
5
Alex.
from Alex.
Wow.
I like that.
Ballsy.
I like that.
Look, man, just pray that Jalen Williams shoots Valentine's Day in every game. That's all he's got to do. Maybe, there might be some days he shoots maybe like Christmas, but, if he comes out there, imagine he comes out there and shoots.
What are these dates you're going for? Like 12 of 25
Yeah.
from the field, 2 of 14,
Yeah.
Exactly.
3 of 20. I don't even think that's a possibility.
Oh,
It
trust
is.
me, it's possible.
It's definitely possible.
The
He's done it.
game 7 against the Bucks, I think Harden went 5 of 25.
Oof.
It was awful. It was so
May
bad.
25th, bro.
That's what next week.
Yeah.
Like the
All
real
right.
challenge. Can someone like tomorrow in the Knicks Pacers series? Can someone shoot or no? Tomorrow's West.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow can like SGA shoot tomorrow's date? Like
That'd be pretty funny.
that'd be funny.
That would be 5 of 20.
My last question on this series before we move on. They're more than likely going to announce the MVP, and no MVP's ever made it out of the second round. That's when they announce it. Does this jinx
Ever?
SGA? No, since 2019.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, my fault.
That's a big statement. I was going to say.
Does the prophecy now move to the conference finals? That's the question.
No, because if Denver won.
No, but they didn't announce it. So
I know.
technically still Jokic is still the MVP.
Jokic would still, yeah.
So the prophecies are
No.
weird,
I don't know.
but
I have no idea.
it's hard to gauge with it,
I don't know.
So
Let's go to the next series, though.
yeah, let's talk about the next
yeah.
series.
If
We-
he wins, it'll be a finals then.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll be a very interesting series. But until
Yeah.
then, the Thunder need to prove me that they can't win for me not to pick them because they won 68 games. They have the second best net rating ever.
Yeah.
So let's get into the next series. I feel like this is going to involve a lot of debating, a lot of bickering.
Yes.
We did have a comment on one of our segments the other day that someone said, respectfully, Anna's a fake Knicks fan.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm gla-
100%.
I'm glad.
Who said that? I love him.
I'm glad you caught on.
Can you tell me who said that?
Let me actually pull it up right now
Please,
while
bro.
we do that.
Because I'm
I
about to
am-
shout him out right now.
I am
Shout out this guy.
glad he caught on. Is that your G of the week?
It's my G of the week.
Oh, yeah, we have say that for tomorrow.
It'll set.
So who said it? Oh, so his name is Ramit Batra C8X. He said, respectfully, Ant is the fakest Knicks fan.
Wow. What's his name? Ramit?
Ramit.
What
Alright.
a name, first of all. I love the name. But wow, is he right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
I will back up my claim. I was a fake Knicks fan for the first 2 series of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every other game in the regular season, I was on it, and now I'm on it again because I had no faith in the first. Well, the first round. No, I had faith in the first round. Detroit
You
was
picked them,
was
yeah.
You
easy.
had you not only
I
did you
had-
not have faith, you were a hater. Like you were actively wishing on the Knicks' downfall.
because they were playing really bad.
No, they weren't.
No, you
they were
just-
winning the game.
He just wanted Tom Thibodeau
I
fired.
wanted Tibbs.
That was the only reason
gone.
why.
That's the only reason why.
He wants Tibbs gone. He wants
but
McHale
now
So weird.
Tibbs can stay. I'm okay with him for now.
For now, it's crazy.
For now.
But let's get into the next series, right? We have the Eastern Conference Finals, the final ever series that'll be broadcasted on TNT. How very fitting that Reggie Miller is going to be on the call for this with Kevin Harlan.
Mhm.
Kevin Harlan, thankfully, will be moving to NBC or Amazon, one of the two.
Good.
But quickly, I want to say a quick shout out to Brian Anderson because he is staying with TNT. Stan Van Gundy gave him a moment to shout him out at the end of, I think it was the Wolves-Warriors game. So no more Brian Anderson on the game. It's unfortunate. He's had some big calls. He was on the call when LeBron broke the record. He was on the call when Steph Curry broke the record, when Steph Curry hit his 4,003, when LeBron hit his 50,000 points. So shout out Brian Anderson, absolute legend of the game. Also was on the call when Jokic hit the half-court game winner against the Golden State Warriors.
Gotcha.
So shout out, bro. But we have the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, a rematch of the second round Eastern Conference semifinals last year. So last year, obviously, Indiana won in a 7-game series. One of the wackiest series I think we've ever witnessed. Just a lot of blowouts, a lot of close games, a lot of controversial calls. And at the end of the day, the Pacers pulled through in the end. This year, the Knicks, we'll start with the Knicks. They had a very rocky season. Kind of, after acquiring Karl Anthony Towns, you get rid of the depth. Guys struggled in and out of the lineup, stuff like that. They got, 51 wins.
Yeah.
So you got 51 wins, tied with the 3 seed with Indiana. But obviously the tiebreaker gave you guys the edge there. You took down the Pistons in 6 games, very good series. And then you take down an injured Boston in 6 games as well. Exactly. Obviously losing Jason Tatum midway through the series. Prayers up to him. Hope he's doing well. And on the other end, the Indiana Pacers had a great season last year. Didn't make the playoffs the year before that. And, clawed themselves into the playoffs as the 6th seed. You took down Milwaukee, and then you took down the Knicks in 7 games. This year, very rough start to the season. Extremely rough. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton looked terrible. And after all, as soon as the year flipped 2025, they've had the 2nd best record in the NBA. They've been on a rampage throughout the entirety of the second half of the season. You take down Milwaukee again, and then you take down a hobbled Cleveland Cavaliers team in 5 games. And here you go again. So this is the second year in a row they've played the Bucks and the Knicks in the playoffs. So
different result this time.
We'll have to see. We'll talk about that at the end of the stream. Save yourself, sir. But, thoughts on both of these teams, Antoine, going into this series? What have you seen from both of these franchises this year?
Well, success is the key word for both of them. They've both been successful to a certain degree the whole season.
Yeah.
Of course, the East is not the most ideal playthrough for the playoffs because just how awful the teams are. Besides Boston, Cleveland, and Detroit. Cleveland and Boston went through the big injuries. Second round for both, so Indiana and New York benefited from those easily. And now it's the test of the 2 best teams that are healthy. And, I'm looking for the same grittiness last season with that series. Now it's in the conference finals. A lot more marbles to play for than last year. Second round, you're playing for conference finals. Now you're playing for the final spot. So
exactly.
Definitely more stress, definitely more intensity, a lot of more everything from both sides. So, I'm looking for just scoring. I want to see a lot of scoring. I know that's a little just not good to say because we want to see some defense as well. But for us, for the Knicks to succeed, it's going to be scoring. That's what we do. Cat, everyone's got to show up. I need OG and Mikal to lock in this series especially. OG's been so inconsistent in the whole second series with Boston. Just needs to lock in. Mikal's been good defensively. I want to see offensively pick up a little more.
I mean, his mid-range has been unstoppable.
Yeah. Second half, Mikal Bridges is unstoppable. Yeah. OG, I don't know what's going on. Figure it out, please. Because, you're one of our best players.
You don't need him to score. You clearly haven't.
Yeah, but it's always helpful.
Nah, but when you have to guard the best player, do you really want? My English is bad. Do you really expect Mark Dagnall to want Lou Dort to drop 20 plus? No, you want him to guard the best player.
Yeah,
he'll do what he can offensively. That's why you have Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I mean, Cat, we need scoring. Please don't foul out in the third quarter. Please, I know Brunson fouled out in the third quarter as well, or fourth quarter, 2 games ago.
Yeah.
Don't foul out, please. Just stop. Hart, keep doing what you're doing. The heart of the team. The bench, Deuce is looking good.
He's playing great.
Mitchell Robinson, make a free throw, please.
Other than that, he's been decent.
He's been decent, yes.
Yeah. For the most part.
Everybody else, Landry Shamet, Campaign, Precious Achua, I guess. If you guys get game time, just make it positive game time. Don't try to score if you don't need to. Just defensive possessions are great. Let our scores. We have 3 or 4 scores on the offense. Please don't try to score. Just
list those scores in order. I'm sorry.
Well, Brunson, Cat, Mikal, OG. Hart's not really a scorer. He's more all-around guy.
I mean, he's outscored the role players in most of this series.
He has.
He had like 25 in I think game 4.
Yeah, he had
Wow.
20. Yeah, he had the highest scoring. But yeah,
Josh Hart does everything.
Brunson and
Yeah.
Cat are your first two. Mikhail more. Brunson and Cat for threes and also getting into the paint.
There's a big gap between Brunson and Cat and Mikhail and OG.
Yeah, exactly.
Massive gap. It's not even
Yeah,
like
Brunson you want for the plays to get into the paint and hit the fadeaways, the mid ranges, the layups, draw the contact. Cat threes you want the contact in the paint. OG you want the wing play. Mikhail same wing play, the threes, the mid range. Hart can shoot a little bit from three. Transition layups, dunks.
Yeah.
Deuce threes as well. And then going to Indiana, same thing with them. They've played the similar style with the three ball. With Neesmith, Nemhard,
They can score with the best
Hallie,
too.
Miles Turner. Siakam's going to be down low.
yeah.
Of course, the depth on the bench is superior to ours in every category. Probably
So,
besides
wait,
like
I have a
center.
question. So since both teams here are great offensive teams, right? OKC, not OKC, the Knicks and the Pacers. Do you think the series will come down to who plays better on the defensive side, and if so, which team has more potential of playing good defense in terms of matchups?
They're quite even in defensive rating this postseason, so it's hard to gauge.
I'm tempted to say us, but with
Why?
Cat there, it's because Mitch coming in, it's better defense. They don't have a defensive center backup besides
Turner's decent.
Yeah, backup.
Miles Turner's been one of the best defensive players in the playoffs
Backup.
so
There's
far.
no
yeah.
Isaiah Jackson. That would have been like another stopgap for us. But
Yeah, I
Thomas
mean-
Bryant. I'm worried about McConnell, Matherin, and Obi Toppin. Those guys.
The revenge game.
Those guys have quality minutes off the bench because no Benedict Matherin last year helped us a lot, but Benedict Matherin this year is,
He's a player.
does good.
Yeah.
And so I forget who's their backup point guard. McConnell, I said.
Yeah, it's McConnell.
Obi, does Ben Shepherd play Stover or not? Not as much.
Ben Shepherd has been getting spot minutes like
Yeah.
defensively.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I know he does that.
What do you
I
think?
mean,
for me,
Mhm.
so who do you want me to start with?
Knicks.
All right, so for the Knicks, there's one thing, and it's the slow starts. And does that incorporate into them just not being good enough, or is that just a problem that they have? The fact that yes, you did win the first 2 games in Boston, but the fact that you allowed yourself to go down by 20 in both games, Indiana is not a team that plays with their food like that. Indiana's also, you can also say the same thing that they're slow starts, but the games they've won have been consistent wire to wire victories. Looking back at the Knicks series, Game 6 against Boston, I think, has been the only game where you truly controlled it from start to finish. Every Detroit game was pretty much a back and forth thing. There was, I think, Game 1 had like 15 lead changes in the second half alone. Game 2 was more back and forth. Game 3 and 4 were really close. And then obviously Game 5, the Pistons just dominated. And then Game 6 was when the Knicks came back again. The Pistons blew another lead late in the game. And then against the Celtics, Games 1 and 2, the Celtics dominated the first half. Game 3, they won, right? They won
Boston?
Game 3? Yeah. Game 3, they won by like 40.
no.
Wait, no. They won one game by like 40 or 30. Which one was it?
Boston?
Yeah.
I think
No,
it was Game 3.
We won the first two. Boston
Boston
won Game 3.
It was the afternoon game, whichever. Yeah, they won. Didn't they blow them out in Game 3?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I was saying they won by.
The Knicks won the first two. In
I'm
Boston.
talking about Game 3.
Game 3 was Boston.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Hello, that's
Oh,
what he's
okay.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Boston won by like 30 or 40 in Game
yes,
3.
Yes.
Game 4, you lose Tatum, but Boston did have control most of the first half.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Game 5, Boston obliterated you. And then Game 6, the Knicks truly dominated because,
Yep.
what is Boston supposed to do in that situation? So I need to. That's why I think this is a big test for the Knicks, because there have been games where the Pacers put the Bucks and the Cavs to bed early. The Knicks have only done that in one singular game, and that was without the Celtics' best player. So to me, that's what I'm looking for, though. I need to see the Knicks actually come out and punch them in the face, and that's what we're gonna have to wait and see. My thing is Karl Anthony Towns historically performs great against the Pacers. He averaged 30 and 8, but in his conference finals series last year was why he's no longer on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So let me look at his playoff game log right now, and I'll tell you
He
exactly.
averages 38.
30 and
Okay.
in,
I was gonna
in
say
just
averages
in just
38.
these 3 games against the Pacers this season.
Okay.
But last year against the Mavs, for Cat standards, he averaged under 20 points.
Yeah, I mean they had a different matchups. If he averages 30 points against the Pacers, it's for a reason. It's because whoever's on the Pacers can't guard him.
I mean, look,
Period.
you're going from PJ Washington to Pascal Siakam. So definitely can match him offensively as far as the scoring output. Defensively, they're kind of the same. They're not great defenders. So it's just, this is the second option now
Yeah.
on the other side of things. And that's what I'm looking more to with Cat specifically. Because, yes, Ant was pretty bad in the clutch, but Cat was bad the entire series. Just wasn't efficient at all. Shot 24% from 3 against the Mavericks.
Yeah, it's bad.
And that's a big problem. That's just, we're not really seeing a big scoring output from most of the NBA this playoffs. It's been very hit or miss.
Mhm.
And I think that's, as long as the Pacers can keep up this just offensive, just obliteration, that's why I believe in them so much. Because the thing with Indiana is that they just play so fast. Pun intended to the Pacers for a reason. But I think the key is really Halliburton, the way he just controls that offense and it elevates the guys around him. Nesmith, Nembhard, even Miles Turner's looked phenomenal. And you don't really get that big shift on the bench because McConnell plays the same exact way. It's just a different style once you get inside the three-point line.
Mhm.
Because Halliburton's going to probe, McConnell's going to probe, but McConnell will either quickly slash out or he'll go up for a layup or a midi. Halliburton is a little bit slower inside the three-point line. He's not sure what he wants to do. He scans. He's got great court mapping skills. And I think that's really the key here. So that's kind of my thing. And compared to last year, Andrew Nembhard looks much better defensively this season. Jalen Brunson definitely made that boy work in the summer. And look, Nesmith is still going to be the primary guy.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll have to see what Nembhard does.
Yeah.
So now let's go to you, Gio. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking right now because of how well the Pacers move the ball, how well they pretty much are in transition. I'm thinking right now, how are the Knicks going to be able to, how are their rotations going to be? Anthony, because you've been watching the Knicks all season. What do you think about the rotations for the Knicks? Are they on point? Do they get lost in the action? What's going on there?
Well, there's only two guys that rotate in the most, and it's Deuce and.
No, not those. I'm talking about rotation, defense rotations.
Okay.
Who's going to
So-
go matchups?
Yeah. So of course it's gonna be OG on.
Mhm.
I don't think Nembhard could be on Brunson.
Nesmith, maybe?
No, Nesmith could probably be on OG.
Are you talking about who the Pacers are going to guard or who the Knicks are going to guard?
Who are the Knicks going to be guarding, and how are those rotations going to work? Are they
Okay, so
quick
who the Knicks gonna
defensively as a
guard.
team on rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I would think Brunson would take. I think Mikhail takes Hallie.
Okay.
I think Brunson takes Nembhard.
What are you laughing at?
He's bro. Remember when Mikhail took the Kate assignment? He got switched off after 5 minutes.
Well, he's been different in this Boston series. He's
I
been
mean,
better.
I
He
think,
took it to Jalen Brown.
I think it switches either way. It depends. And then I think OG Nesmith, and then Pascal, Hart, and then Miles Turner and Cat.
Right.
Yeah, I think you have to put Cat on Miles Turner. If you put Cat on Siakam, you can kiss that series goodbye
Yeah.
because there's no way in hell he's staying in front of him.
Yeah. Hart can take Siakam. I have no issues with that.
I think OG needs to be on Pascal Siakam.
100%.
Undoubtedly. He's a guy.
I'm fine with that.
He's a guy.
OG's 6'8" and
Remember, they
250.
also they won a championship together. He
Right.
knows a lot about what Pascal does.
Right.
Now, granted, Pascal did dominate that matchup last year, but OG was injured, so we'll cut him some slack.
Actually, I'm
Right.
fine with that. Actually, because Hart can go on Nesmith.
Or
Part-
Halliburton.
fine.
Part of why I don't take the Mikhail Jalen Brown thing seriously because Brown was playing on a torn meniscus, so
When did he tear it? Do we know?
before the playoffs even started,
Yeah, so
he got injections in his knee back in March.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out Jalen Brown. Credit to
Yeah.
him. He put his body on the line. He was
I
diving for
wouldn't have
loose
played.
balls. I wouldn't have either, bro. It's insane.
That's
But
what you have to do when you're an NBA player, unfortunately.
Alex said
You
Brunson.
don't have to.
Alex said Brunson, one son, or Brunson, one son, Samson, Pacers and 4.
I
Sam.
love that. That is a beautiful take.
Big
That's
Knicks
great.
fan.
That is a beautiful take for,
Yeah, see?
for Tibbs going out the door.
Nah, I mean, if you get swept, he might get fired. But if you lose in 5 or 7, he's not. He's
Yeah,
staying.
no.
You guys have sealed your fate with Tibbs for at least another year.
Yeah.
But so yeah, if you put OG on what's his face, Pascal, put Cat on Miles Turner.
Mhm.
I think Hart goes on Nembhard. I think Brunson goes. I think Brunson might go on either Nembhard or Neesmith. It's really tough to gauge.
Mhm.
Hart will take the other, and then that leaves you with Mikal Bridges for the other one.
Now let me ask you this though, Tyler, because you are a big Pacers supporter or
Enthusiast.
I'm a
an
believer.
advocate,
I'm
a believer.
an advocate. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is, what have you seen from the Pacers all season? And why is it that you saw it before everyone? Like, what did you see originally in the Pacers where it's like, oh, that's the team?
Why was
Like,
he?
what was it that stuck out to you that no one else saw?
Why was he me?
No, bro.
I mean, I actually did see it from the beginning.
You did.
Why was it me?
Let's rewind to last December.
Okay.
The in-season tournament playoffs. Pacers went through the group stages with pretty much no problem. I don't remember if they got, I think they won the division because they won the group because they had home court. Played the Celtics in the quarterfinals. A Celtics team that dominated the first month of the season like crazy, and they looked primed for a championship. They looked insane. In the fourth quarter, the Pacers completely dominated them, took them straight out of the game, and pretty much that was that. They looked great. They overpowered Tatum. Brown looked terrible. Holiday looked terrible. It was just a great team win for them. Then you go to Vegas. You play a healthy Milwaukee Bucks. And in the fourth quarter, Tyrese Halliburton completely turned on another switch, hit 2 clutch threes in the end. I actually saw a stat in the playoffs. Halliburton's 10 of 11 from the clutch. Halliburton's 10 of 11 in
From
the
three?
clutch. I don't know if it's from 3 or from the field, but Halliburton is like a very clutch player in these situations in those types of games. So
He's
you
not taking a lot of shots. Only 11 shots in the clutch.
I'm talking about like in the final like 10 seconds of a game.
Oh, okay.
Talking about like those closeout. I remember
Those
like
types.
yeah, remember like
Gotcha.
earlier in the year when he had that float, like the Peter Griffin shot,
Yeah.
like those kind of shots.
Okay.
So Alex said Tibbs is the best Knicks coach since Pat Riley.
How long
That's
ago was
facts.
Pat Riley?
That's facts. Thank you, Alex, for that
Long
wonderful
time
take.
ago, yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
facts.
didn't you guys have Phil Jackson at one point?
Yeah, but Phil Jackson
terrible.
ruined that team.
Phil
terrible.
Jackson was good back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Not
Jordan.
anymore. But I understand your point. I agree with it's a good take. But so you beat them, and then look, there's not much they could have done. The NBA needed LeBron to get some sort of trophy that Jordan didn't have. So at the end of the day, that was that, and the Pacers bowed out in the championship of that game.
Who won the play-in this year?
The Bucks.
Oh, the Bucks beat the Pacers.
They beat the
right?
Thunder.
Oh, the Thunder. Okay.
Yeah. So essentially you get that. That's why I think the Thunder might make the finals, because that teaches you. When you lose a game like that, it gives you a learning experience. Then they kind of coasted through the rest of the regular season. They make the playoffs. Obviously Milwaukee was injured, but I had the Pacers advancing anyways, and I just thought that they were just the more complete team. When you have bench depth, it really helps, and the Bucks just completely gutted their bench for Damian Lillard anyways. So you get past that series, and part of me was being a Knicks hater, considering I am
Okay.
a Knicks. I am.
I
a
knew
Knicks
that had
fan.
something to do
I
with
said
it.
part of me, but I actually did. I still genuinely think the Pacers were the better team that
Okay.
series. I do. I thought they should have won game 1. Game 2, the Knicks I think blew them out, and then games 3 and 4, the Pacers won both games by 20 plus. And then, game 3 they didn't. Game 4 they blew them out. Game 3 was the Nembhard shot. Again, the Pacers in the clutch time. That's when stuff happens. Game 5, the Knicks won. Game 6, the Pacers blew them out at home. And then game 7, obviously the Knicks had injuries and stuff like that, but the Pacers just dominated the game. And then again, against Boston, they looked really good in all 4 of those games, 3 of them without Tyrese Halliburton. And just those last 2 minutes of the game, Rick Carlisle didn't stick to his rotations. The Celtics, he didn't ride the hot hand. The Celtics won those games. And in those last 3 games, they didn't have their clutch guy in Tyrese Halliburton. So that's why they didn't win that series. Alex said Riley won the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Was that when they made the finals in
Against, I think
80s.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
1996 or 95?
40, 80s.
Because
I think it's 95.
they went back to back that time, right? Because it was Bulls 3-peat, Rockets, and then Bulls 3-peat.
Yep.
So
It was that series. It was Rockets versus Knicks, I think.
a Rockets sandwich. So, but that's why I saw you saw last year. I predicted them to get to the conference finals anyways. So
Man, so I guess what I'm hearing is the Pacers. It's number one is depth. Number 1 is depth, and number 2 is clutch.
clutch, and also
So that's what I'm hearing.
if you see the 29th rated defense in the NBA lock up in the playoffs, you're doing something right.
Right.
And the other thing too, Rick Carlisle is so underrated. Outside of that Boston series, he's been coaching. He's behind off. Remember, this dude won a championship.
He's a hell of a
He
coach.
won one of the most impressive, most toughest championships in NBA history with the 2011 Dallas Mavericks.
He's a hell of a coach.
Hell of a coach. He's got a hell of a team. Kings are idiots for trading Tyrese Halliburton. I still can't fathom that.
Yep.
And just the business the Pacers have done. Remember the post Bleacher Report made when it said the Celtics got a paperclip for Malcolm Brogdon? They traded Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah.
He's turned into one of the greatest on-ball defenders the NBA has to offer.
Yeah.
Andrew Nemhard was drafted in the second round, and he's one of the statistical playoff risers in the NBA. Miles Turner's been on the team since, remember the old uniforms from the PG days?
The beginning.
He's been there for so long.
Yeah, he has.
TJ McConnell's been floating around the league.
Right.
At 5'2", he's cooking everyone. It's amazing.
It's true, man. You bring up a good point. But my final question to you, Tyler, is if the Knicks do win this series, what are a couple things that you will have to or be forced to admit about the Knicks as a team?
I need to see how they win. You got to give me a specific, like if the Pacers get injured, I
Okay.
can't really give them credit.
Both teams are healthy.
Okay.
Let's say the Knicks win in 6 or 7 games. It's a hard-fought series. It's maybe you see a classic Knicks come back down 10, 15, 20 points, and they win the game. Like you see what they've been doing, the same thing they've been doing in the previous series. They win like that. What are like two
coming down,
things-
like coming back?
Yeah, coming back from behind and winning. Like, what are some things that you would be forced to admit about the Knicks that you didn't want to?
It really depends on like how the players perform, because my thing with the Knicks, it's more about the individual guys. That's kind of been my thing. I think just collectively, they're just not as good as everyone thinks they are. And again, that's what it comes down to in the playoffs. You got to stay healthy and everything of that nature. They're the only team without depth that's made it this far, but their opponents have been injured. So to me, I think if it comes down to a healthy team, I'll give them credit. Obviously, I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I'll need to see in the manner of which they win, and credit will be given as follows.
Gotcha.
Because like I said, everyone on this team has something to prove. Like we all know how great Brunson is. He's way too good to be foul baiting like this. Like it's egregious to watch. It's not fun at all. And that's the problem, because Jalen Brunson was a really fun player to watch on the Mavs.
Yeah.
In his first season on the Knicks, he looked great. And then he started flopping everywhere in the playoffs. And it's just not fun.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy anything. Just him head bobbing and just doing all that
Yeah.
stupid shit. It's just not my just not my cup of tea. I never liked it. And to me, those types of players don't win, which is why I'm semi-skeptical on SGA, but his team is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So there's that. Karl Anthony Towns, I've never believed in. I've never believed in Mikal Bridges, even when he was on Brooklyn.
But here's what I'm saying. Will you be forced to believe in them if they go to the finals?
If they win the finals, then maybe. But still no.
Not even if they beat your pick to win the finals.
We'll have to see.
Okay.
I'll have to see how I feel at the time.
Gotcha. I like that.
And I'll flip the question onto you
Go for it.
with the Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton.
Go for it.
Because I still believe you think he's overrated.
I do.
And I just don't know what does he have to do. If the Pacers win this series the same way you said, let's say they win the same way against the Cavs and the Bucks.
So Knicks get hurt.
Okay. Well, the same thing with the Pacers. Then.
I know.
So what's your take then?
My take would be, same answer as you. It depends on how Halliburton performs. I mean, if he gets carried by Miles Turner and Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell and all those guys, then I'll have the same opinion. But if Tyrese Halliburton comes out and he's the leader on the team, right, and which I know he can be, but not only is he the leader, and he also puts up the statistics that a leader should be putting up. Like, I don't want to see him average 18 points a game in this series. I'm sorry. I want to see him take that next step up. If I want to give him that top 10 player in the NBA credit, he needs to take that next step up. He needs to average at least 23 points in this series if he wants, and win, and still average those 10 assists if he wants me to give him space in my top 10 players in the NBA.
Well, let me ask you this.
If he doesn't do that, he's overrated. That's just how it is.
But what if he averages, let's say he averages 18, but what if he averages 11 assists and 1 turnover?
That's cool and all, but I want to see the points, bro.
Yeah, but it's more than just points, though.
Oh, it is. I know. 100%
It's so more than just points.
Oh, bro, listen, bro. I understand that, but the greats, they get points.
This is a points league.
The greats get points,
All right,
and that just is what it is.
But let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Let's say he still averages 18, but he hits 3 game winners in the series.
All right, well, I guess
That's what he's been doing, though. It's what he's been doing.
How many game winners he has in this playoff?
He had the game winner in Game 5 against the Bucks.
2.
He had the winner in Game 2 against the Cavs.
That's it.
I think he had one more.
No,
I don't remember.
That's it.
I'm trying to remember what other games he had a game winner in. Hold on. Because they won by... He had the game winner last year against the Bucks. That I remember. Yeah, the Bucks... The only close game was Game 5. Game 2 was close. And then, yeah, it was pretty much then. And then he had a dagger in Game 5 against the Caps. But he's had 2 game winners so far this playoffs. Both come from behind 8 points in like 40 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
So is Aaron Gordon.
Yeah. So is Aaron Gordon. But do you think Aaron Gordon's overrated?
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
No. I agree with your point. I need to see more points from a point guard that's supposed to be the star of the team because that's just how it rolls with every star point guard that's leading a team. Probably besides like the older guys, but hell, he's not old.
25.
Yeah, exactly. So he's still kind of, he needs to take the regular season more seriously because that's where he struggles the most. I understand that right now is when it matters, but if you want to be a star, you need to show up for every game. You know, I know we're talking about the playoffs now, but the regular season he had was pretty bad.
He was hurt first half of the season.
I don't want to hear that.
So.
He looks fine now.
Well, yeah, because he's been playing better since the
Yeah.
since the season like took its turn.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, like, he's still kind of on my overrated scale. I would say he's kind of like cooled off a little bit, but there's got to be a jump in points for me. The assists are fine, maybe even a jump in some rebounds, but I know he doesn't rebound that much.
And I'm only saying he's overrated because certain people have said he's a top 10 player in the league, which is outrageous.
I didn't say he was.
What did you say?
I said if he wins a championship and gets Finals MVP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not.
I thought you mentioned he was top 10 player
He's
in the
top
league.
15 right now. For me, he is.
Top 15, top 20.
Yeah.
We did this already.
I think he's top 20.
named it off.
Top 20.
You can make the argument for that. I won't
Yeah.
give you a problem about it.
Right.
But he's not top 10 right now.
Gotcha.
I said if he wins a championship, he's definitely getting top 10 for me.
Yeah.
Like no doubt.
Top 15. I don't think top 10. I can name 10 players
Hey, man.
ahead.
But if he, like I said, if he goes on a championship run and wins Finals MVP, it's going to be hard for you not to give him at least a chance to make that list.
Well, yeah. It depends. It depends how he performs in the series to get those Finals MVP. Of course, he had to be performing really good. So that's kind of the conclusion to that.
I guess that also kind of seconds me with Brunson then.
Yeah.
You know, if Brunson wins a championship, I have to consider him for top 10. I also have him on my overrated list. So
how can you put the best?
Brunson is not overrated.
How could you put
that
the
is
best
that is one of the
fourth
worst
quarter
takes I've ever
performer
seen in my life.
he's not the best fourth quarter performer in the NBA.
since Kobe Bryant?
Kyrie Irving is the best fourth quarter player in the NBA. He is the fourth
Kyrie
quarter
Irving
man.
has a torn ACL right now, bro.
What has Brunson done that's so overrated? Everything he does is very positive.
You brought up a stat the other day where he's averaging
fourth quarter points.
the most fourth quarter points since Kobe Bryant in like, what was it, like 08 or something like that?
Look, it just comes down to the perception of it. Just like Halliburton with the 10 of 11 in the last minute of the game. You know, very clutch inside that last minute.
The things that Brunson has done in New York, no one's criticized him for overrated. Everything is done perfectly for himself.
He plays in New York. You're never going to get the overrated tag.
No, but if
he's averaging 30, bro.
Show me a championship. Then.
But if players
bro.
Exactly.
If players crap the bed in New York, they give him a lot of hate, and then they're out of New York. But that's never been the case with him.
We all know the microscope is huge in New York. So if you don't perform, they're going to expose you.
Well,
but he's been performing.
That's because Brunson has had guys on his team that have been under the microscope. Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns. A lot of people take the heat for him.
Maybe Brunson's never been under the microscope because he's never done anything to deserve to be under the microscope. He's just been that good.
They see him as their next Melo. So he's never going to get criticism.
Randall and Barrett were under the microscope. When Barrett was a rookie and second year and third year, they were seeing no progress with him. That's where he got shipped out. Yeah. Randall was the kind of the playoff riser for them. Did not happen. They were sending Randall to get out, and Brunson needed to take over. And now look what happened. It has happened. So you just move forward, and Brunson lived up to it. Once he came over, they knew this is the next coming of the greatest Knicks player. He probably is the greatest Knicks player of all time right now. Some people.
Anthony, stop, bro.
Some people might say that.
Anthony, stop.
That's why. That's part of why, though.
Do you want to go to New York and ask Knicks fans? We
Bro.
could do that.
That's part of why.
Some people would say that,
Listen, if Brunson goes to the finals and they actually win, then yeah, he.
but some people right
But no.
now think Jalen Brunson's the best player in
It's
Knicks
still
history of all
it's
time.
still Walt Frazier.
It's Walt Frazier, it's Willis
Yeah,
Reed, it's
But
Patrick Ewing.
some people will say Jalen Brunson. Don't go past that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of thing. And also like people
That's
are
it.
people are trying to put him in the same realm as like Jokic and Giannis, saying like he's top 5 in the league.
He's top 10.
I didn't think he's top 10. Honestly, honest to God, I think him and Halliburton are kind of around the same level. And I think
I disagree.
we're about it. You're just too focused on points per game.
No, I'm focused on effect on the game. Halliburton has all those other guys he passes the ball to.
Exactly.
That can get a bucket.
He elevates them.
Brunson doesn't really have that, and he still carries these boys.
Brunson's got a superstar in his team. I don't want to hear it.
Oh yeah, but still.
Cat's a superstar.
Cat has been touted as a superstar.
Cat's a superstar.
I would say so.
Yeah,
but-
he is. If Cat can drop 60-something in a game,
Yeah.
and if he was the first overall pick, like
Yeah. What was the average? What did he average this season? Like 30
Cat, yeah, best
Cat,
season of his
no.
career.
this year.
20,
He averaged
24 and 13.
yeah, not
24 and
30.
12.
Yeah, SGA averaged 30. Jokic
Oh, my
averaged
fault.
30. Yeah. So
Yeah. Alex,
But yeah.
I am wild, but also Brunson is not my greatest player of all time in Knicks history. It's probably Walt or Willis, but Carmelo Anthony
That's cap.
Carmelo Anthony is up there very highly.
he definitely wants to put Brunson up there.
No, Carmelo is above Brunson
though,
on so many levels.
Low key, like the Knicks are just as poverty as the Nets. It's actually kind of funny.
how?
Your best player is from like the 1960s. I mean, the Knicks haven't really had any success
No.
in recent years until
That's true.
now.
Yeah.
And the Nets, same
That's
thing.
why I don't understand why you're such a Knicks hater. It's like they don't even win. They're
Exactly.
just there to hate it on.
Exactly. Because now that they're winning, we don't want to see it. Like
Okay,
we
I
just
got
don't.
I
It hurts even more because we had the golden opportunity to be the next dynasty, and it all fell apart in the worst of
the
ways.
thing, I'm not praying for the Knicks' downfall. The only, just the way this team is built is not significantly better from last year. Yes, I understand Cat is a really good upgrade offensively, but I think you downgrade from McHale from Dante DiVincenzo, and you still go somewhat far. OG is healthy, big plus. Hart, same thing, big plus. But it's just the path. Maybe just all the cohesiveness they have. But I would prefer Dante DiVincenzo over McHale 10 times out of 10. Every single time. Just what he did for us last year.
I disagree.
Scoring. You would not take Dante over McHale on this team right now?
I would take Dante purely for the shooting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want the ball in the hand, McHale could clunk a 3. Dante would not clunk 3.
Who's better on defense?
They're the same, to be honest.
Yeah.
I
McHale,
disagree. McHale's more length.
McHale has just not looked even remotely close to his Phoenix self since he left Phoenix.
Well, I don't know. I feel like in the Celtics series, he's shown me something. So
That's because Brown couldn't move.
Yeah, but
And-
Dante last year, a lot of good moments for him that were clutch.
He
Yeah,
did.
Dante was one of their best players, period, in the series or both series against Philly and
That was the guy you could
Indiana.
rely on for a 3. Like, just pass to Dante.
Well,
He
look,
may miss a few,
going
but
back to the Western Conference Finals,
East.
if
Oh, for
Dante
Dante, yeah.
on the Timberwolves, if he needs to show up too, if they want to beat the OKC Thunder, so
well, he's a bench guy, and his role's a lot less than compared to the Knicks last year.
Exactly.
still
That's the problem.
get in there when you can and do what you got to do.
But yeah, when you get in there for not that long, and you have AE on your team, and J Mac dropping 30, you're not gonna have a lot of shots.
They also just have more depth. Like
Yeah.
Dante was out. Like as far as the Knicks bench last year, it was McBride and it was DiVincenzo, and McBride was awful
No,
in the latter stretch.
Devo started.
Well, you know what I mean. Like when they were running second units,
Yeah.
because what was it? It was no, because weren't they starting Hart and it wasn't it?
It was both.
Oh, because Randall was out. Yeah, I forgot
Randall
about that.
was out.
Yeah, but now this
Mitch
year,
was out all year.
but even still, this year now, DiVincenzo. Let's say Minnesota runs an all bench lineup, you could roll out who? Nikhil Alexander-Walker, him. You got Naz Reid. You got who
Rob
else?
Dillingham, Terrence Shannon.
You could like he has guys on his team to help him out. Naz Reid.
Mhm.
So, he's in a much easier place to produce. And if Minnesota's shooting well, he's gonna be left open a lot. So
Listen, I'm an advocate for this Knicks team doing good. It just the capacity of players we have on this team should not be screaming conference finals because there's no bench.
Yeah.
I know the starting 5 is phenomenal, or the starting 4. I'm not counting McHale because McHale doesn't show up till the second half of every single game. OG, Hart, Cat, and Brunson. That's kind of the rotation. Deuce has had his threes here and there, but not all reliable like Dante was on certain instances. That's what I'm saying. And then you can't rely on Mitch for anything but defense. Precious Achiuwa sees garbage minutes. So does Landry Shamet. So does Campaign.
Yeah.
If one of those guys were to, go out, I think it would be over.
Perhaps.
That's it.
Yeah.
Any guy, Hart,
All right,
Cat,
well, look,
Brunson.
listen.
That's the biggest problem.
Who you got winning the series?
Well, before you say that's the big problem for the Knicks. I need consistent 48 minutes. I hate this Brunson gimmick of him playing so ass in the first half of the game.
Exactly.
And then he just randomly shows up in the fourth quarter. But what if you're already down by 30? It might be too late, right? Karl Anthony Towns is going to go berserk in the first half, and then he'll just foul out in the second half. And that's kind of the thing.
What you just told me is a bunch of what ifs. And what I'm about to tell you is guaranteed. And guess what? What's guaranteed is Jalen Brunson will show up in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's always going to be
So
the
that's
case.
a guarantee. And I'll take that any day of the week.
I
You're
mean,
going to show up in any quarter. It better be the fourth.
If he doesn't, I am solely blaming you for
That's
that.
fine. That's fine.
Listen,
The human jinx himself.
I am perfectly okay with comeback wins, but I am tired of being down 10, 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Every single game.
Because at the end of the day, your luck's going to run out at some point. You're going to run into a team that's not going to relinquish these types of leads. The Pistons were inexperienced, and the Celtics were known to be doing this for the past half decade anyways. So
I'm tired of 15-4, 15-6, 17-8 with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter.
You're tired of winning too?
No, I'm not tired of winning. I just want.
So stop complaining.
But,
Well, I would like it to be less stressful as a Knicks fan.
it's just not
to watch the game.
It's just not sustainable in this type of
I understand.
atmosphere. Especially now that you're going against a team with depth.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
You're right.
And
Because that 10 could turn to 20 by the second quarter.
You're right.
Yeah, and it's not. And this isn't like a 70-win team. They're not going to look at the Knicks and take them lightly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Alex said Neesmith will have Brunson in hell. I mean, he did last year. I think
Yeah.
Brunson shot like 18% from the field when guarded by Aaron Neesmith.
Yeah.
So
Cat is the best shooting big man of all time, yes, and I definitely bow down to him for that.
I wouldn't say he's the best. I would say he's one.
Who?
It's either him or Dirk.
Yeah,
It's tough.
I'm
It's
okay with
really
either.
tough to pick.
I'm okay
I'm
with
going
either
Cat.
or.
I think shooting, it's Dirk. 3-point, it's Cat. That's what I would say.
I'm fair. I'm fine with that.
Because Dirk's mid-range, I
Yeah,
can't
his
choose.
Dirk- yeah.
I can't choose.
You're right.
I can't choose Cat over Dirk.
You're
Yeah.
right.
But as far as like 3-point shooting bigs,
Cat.
it's Cat, it's Brooke Lopez, it's Dirk Nowitzki. Next.
For sure.
That's
Yeah.
literally it.
All right,
So-
do you want to get into your predictions?
Let's get into our predictions.
Break
Our
it
predicts.
down.
Yeah.
I'll
you
go.
want me-
I'll go last.
I'll go first. So, I got the Knicks winning the first two again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Away. Because they
No,
love
they're
them.
They're home.
They're
yeah,
home.
They're home.
I forgot they're the higher
Mhm.
seed.
They
Yeah.
have the same record, but
So now I'm gonna change my mind.
okay.
I got a split in the first two games.
Okay.
1-1. Then I got a split in the second two games. Then I have the Pacers winning game 5, and the Knicks winning the last two games. Let's freaking go. MSG stand up.
Game
New York
7
stand
MSG would be amazing.
0-4 in Game 7s at home against the Pacers.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, that changes this year.
Okay. We'll have to
Let's go.
see.
I like that, G.
Let me hear from you.
No, I'm not.
Tyler.
You want to go last? Okay. They're going to split in New York. I'm firmly confident they split in New York. I'm not sure who wins which game, but they will split in New York.
Mhm.
I think Indiana wins both games at home.
Okay.
I think they're really going to come to play. But Indy in the conference, their crowd last year was insane
Oh, yeah.
against Boston.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're angry about what happened last year.
They won.
No, they got swept in the conference finals last
Oh,
year.
you're talking about that.
Yeah,
series.
they're
Okay.
angry about that because they choked away 3 of the 4 games. So I think they're going to come in ready and urgent. And they win both games at home.
Mm.
I think the Knicks win Game 5 and the Pacers take Game 6,
Mm.
clinching at home the final game on TNT with Reggie Miller on the call.
Wow.
Pacers in 6.
All right. What you got?
Let us know in the chat, by the way, while Antoine's
Yeah.
giving his breakdown. Who do you
Yeah.
got? How many games?
So MSG, the first two is too much for Indy. They go up 2-0. I think Indy takes game 3. It'll be 2-1. We take game 4. It would be 3-1 going back to the Garden.
Another 3-1 lead. Bone.
Indy takes game 5. 3-2 going back to Indianapolis. And I think Indy will take that one. So 3-1 to 3-3. And then Game 7 at home.
Not against this.
Game 7 at home. All the celebs are sitting front row. Everybody's there.
And the Knicks
And-
lose.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Oh, you have them winning.
They win and they take care of business.
Yeah.
Game 7 and then go into the finals to play Minnesota.
Wow.
Wow. Insane.
Okay.
That's crazy.
I like it, bro.
Diabolical.
So you get the panic of 3-1 lead blown and then take
With
care
all the
of
pressure
business.
on, they still come out and take their
Yeah.
business at home in front of all the celebs.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, bro.
That's big.
I think if you blow the 3-1 lead, you're done for.
Oh yeah, you are. But the Game 7 is a relaxer for
Like
them now.
if OKC winds up winning the series in like 5 games, and the Knicks have to, if they blow a 3-1 lead and go to 7, they're not winning a single game in the finals. Like not
close.
even close.
Yeah.
Alex said realistically Pacers in 7.
Okay.
Whoa, Alec, you think Pacers win Game 7 at the Garden? That's crazy.
I mean, they just did.
Nope. Not in this economy and that atmosphere for Eastern Conference Finals.
I mean, they did that the last 2 times. you
That
played
was,
in
but that was
in the
not.
Eastern
That was
Conference
not
Finals.
Eastern Conference Finals.
It
That
was.
Eastern Conference semis.
in 1999. It was in the Eastern Conference Finals, and you
Okay,
guys
well,
choked the game away.
I wasn't alive, so I.
Yeah, you were definitely alive in 1999.
I was 2 months. I had no eyesight.
you were definitely
I did not
alive.
see it.
You were definitely alive. I'll tell you that for free.
All right, so Alex has that. Where's the other Alex?
No
do you
idea.
have?
Who do you guys got winning both of your conference finals MVPs of this series? I feel like it's kind of open regarding like who steps up.
So for Russ, I think it's AE regardless. For me, East, I would go for. I'm gonna go for Cat.
Oh,
I'm gonna go for Cat.
It's definitely gonna be Brunson.
it will be, yeah. If he, yeah, I think I don't think
Either
I don't think
or.
Cat's showing up regardless of how the series pans out.
Or
He said Pacers in 6, Alex.
what's wrong with you guys? Why are you hating?
Bro, the Pacers are literally an
Pacers are
offensive
good.
firepower, bro.
So
Come
are,
on.
so are the Knicks, though.
Come on, give us some hope.
I think if I have OKC winning, SGA's obviously got that. If Minnesota wins, Julius Randle.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. I
That's
think
risky.
Minnesota wins is definitely gonna be AE.
I don't know, bro. I mean, Julius Randle was the best player on the Wolves against the Warriors.
Yeah, so it's
So
because of
possible.
size, lack
Yeah.
of size. We'll see though.
In the East, see, I think Halliburton's going to win Finals MVP. At the beginning of the season, I predicted it was going to be Siakam getting the Conference Finals MVP. It's probably going to wind up going to Halliburton, but I'm fine with either or.
Okay.
It's crazy your predictions are coming to pass. Who are you, bro?
Look, you called me a prophet at James's house
Are you a
when I
prophet
kept
for real?
predicting the sorry stuff.
Are you a prophet for real? Like,
Good. Bro, if the Thunder had lost Game 7 and the Knicks had choked 3-1, I would have had the exact conference finals correct.
Alex has Chet and Nemhard winning conference MVPs.
Honestly, I don't hate that.
I hate that.
Bro,
Yeah, I
bro,
don't
could you
know
imagine how
about that.
ethical a Nemhard conference finals MVP would be?
Dude,
I
what?
don't know about that.
That's pretty unrealistic. But if you're right, Alex, like, I don't know. I'll give you
Yeah.
$1 million, bro.
Alex said, "I will hate on Tibbs forever after what happened in 2012."
Was that D Rose?
Yeah, when he run him into the ground and he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Alex, you're a D Rose fan? L.
Tell
Oh, he's a
Gio.
Bulls fan.
Tell Gio that D Rose is better than Russ
It's
any
not
day
happening.
of the week.
I dare you. I dare you to tell me
That's
that right
that's the other thing I'm curious to see what happens with the Knicks, because the Pacers play super physical and it breaks you down. That's why the Cavs had their injuries and stuff like that. I'm curious to see how Cat specifically
now. Okay.
deals with the physicality, because he is one soft man.
He's gonna go. Oh my God,
the zest,
ref.
the zest is
Ref.
crazy.
He was like this.
When was it Tatum going for the layup?
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
he's
like, I mean, Antoine's just as zesty as Cat. So
Yeah.
it's like,
That's
you
why
know.
he's a Knicks fan.
He said, sadly, no.
Sadly no to the Bulls,
so-
or
so-
Rose is better than Russ.
To that.
No, clarify, Alex.
Obviously that.
Is Rose better?
He's
Ooh,
not.
Alex Colburn said, I love D Rose. Russ is better.
No.
Thank you.
Do not give in to Gio's philosophy.
No, but that's not even
No,
my
he-
fault. That's
he-
just obvious.
He is better than D Rose.
He is. He is. But if D Rose, Alex, if D Rose had a
Don't do
healthy
this,
career,
Don't start.
D
don't
Rose
start
would have
this.
been significantly better than
There are
Russ.
I'm not going
but
for rage bait, bro.
There are better point guards than Russ, though.
Of course.
There
No,
are.
but we're going.
But D Rose is not one of them. Even if D Rose,
Alex, if D Rose did not tear the ACL, he's going on
Bro.
an MVP season for like 2 years in a row.
no, bro.
And then Russ is completely down
No.
below D Rose. Confirm that, Alex.
That's
Both
crazy.
Alexes.
Bro,
Anthony, your propaganda is sorry.
D Rose MVP year one of my favorite years of all time, but Russ became no. Russ did not become.
you became Mr. Triple Double.
Thank you. Wow, these are some. We really
Clap it
have
up,
some
clap it up.
good people. I'm really giving
Clap it
both
up.
Alexes a shout out, bro.
Well,
Shout out to the Alexes, man. They really know what they're talking about. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anthony, shut up.
no, both Alexes. Can you confirm if D Rose was healthy the rest of his career, he would go down? D Rose, the biggest what if. We say this all the time, but if he was healthy, he would be better than Russ. Can you both confirm? I guess we'll never know. Yes, exactly.
We'll never know.
Who said that?
Alex.
Yeah,
Alex.
I guess
that's
we'll
literally
never
what I
know.
say.
Yeah, we'll
Because
never
we're not.
know.
We don't live in the
Bro,
land of what ifs. We live in the
Jokic-
land of reality.
Jokic said in his press conference yesterday, I'm not a fan of the if stuff.
Thank you. Me
So,
neither. That's why I like Jokic.
Yeah.
Russ is Mr. Triple Double. He is better than D Rose right now, but I'm an advocate of D Rose. So if D Rose was healthy, he would have been significantly better than Russell Westbrook.
He's actually
Sound.
he's not Mr. Triple Double. He is right as of right now until Jokic passes him. He's the Triple Double king. Jokic is Mr. Triple Double, and
Who is?
oh no, Jokic is a walking triple double, and Oscar Robertson will forever be Mr. Triple Double because he started it. That's how I view it. Russ is the triple double
Oscar
king.
gave him the crown. I don't know if you saw that.
He did, but that's why he's
Wait.
the king.
Hold on.
That's why I call him the king because he has the most triple doubles of all time.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. He's
But
the king. then.
Yeah.
both
My king.
Alexes. Name us all your point guards better than Russell
Can we
Westbrook.
not do this? I'm not going for the rage bait, bro.
Both Alexes. Name,
All right, Alex, go for it.
Both Alexes.
You-
Name us your better point guards
I
than Russell
assume-
Westbrook all time.
I assume you only think Magic and Steph are better than Russ.
I put Isaiah Thomas in there.
Okay, good.
The
he
son?
has to be, bro.
the father.
You're canceled, bro.
Both Alexes. I'm waiting patiently. Who are the better point guards than Russ,
Russ is like
all time?
Russ is a very borderline top 5 point guard for me.
He's top five.
I don't think. I think he's.
He's
I think
top
he's probably
five.
6 or 7
no,
for me.
he's top five.
He's top five all time.
I think.
It's tough.
I would.
It's really tough for
I
me.
think Chris Paul clears him.
No, he doesn't.
For me, he's below Paul and Stockton.
No, not a chance.
Oh, I think so, G.
Yeah.
Not
I
a
think
chance.
so.
Why not?
Did you really just say?
Why is Chris
Chris
Paul?
Paul
Why is
and
Chris
John
Paul not
Stockton.
ahead of Russ?
Do you realize in every single time they matched up against each other, Russell Westbrook literally destroyed him every
But we're not. But we're.
single
but-
time.
Well, I'm not basing it off of. I'm not
we're
basing it
talking
off of
about
who's.
matchups.
I'm not talking about who's better. I'm talking about who's had a better
Yeah,
career.
exactly.
Both.
They
John,
both
John
have.
Stockton has the most assists ever.
Well, we're talking about
and
Chris Paul. We'll get to
Chris
John Stockton.
Paul.
Don't get me. We will get to John Stockton, my friend.
Alex said Magic and CP3.
That's
My ears.
it.
Where's Steph?
I mean, do you count AI as a point guard?
No, he's a shooting guard.
Even still, would he be better than Russ?
No.
Really?
Alex, where's Steph? You're forgetting the most important.
I bet Antoine is Jalen Brunson over Russell Westbrook.
No. CP3 confirmed.
Alex, unfortunately, that you're wrong.
You're biased.
No,
Unfortunately,
please,
you're wrong,
please tell
Alex.
Gio to go home.
I really, Alex, listen, I love you, bro, but you're wrong.
No.
We can have this conversation over
He said,
Discord.
so Alex said Steph, Magic, Isaiah Thomas, Jason Kidd, and then Russell Westbrook.
Insane.
As a
insane
Nets
take.
fan, I love that.
That's an
take.
insane take right now, bro.
Wow.
Great take.
I'm not going for the rage bait, though. I'm not doing
wait,
it.
Alex
Not
said,
doing it.
Alex said Russ over Steph.
God is good.
That's wild.
That
Yeah,
is insane.
Alex, you know what, Alex? I like you more and more, man. Every single time we get on this stream, I like you more and more.
Let me ask you a question, Gio.
What?
Who's better, all-time career Russ or bubble T.J. Warren? Bubble Jamal Murray.
Oh, shoot. I mean, Bo Jamal Murray was averaging like 40.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had
that's pretty
50
easy.
point games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
he's-
easy.
He's definitely better.
But no,
but-
Russ, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, 10 years from now, when Russ is out of the league and we kind of forgot a little bit, and then all of a sudden an Unk brings up Russ and be like, yeah, Russ is top 5.
Top five.
You guys will
He said
admit
he
it
said
one
Russ
day.
is top 5 with no chip.
Yeah.
Top 5 players of all
Yeah,
time with no
yeah.
championship? Absolutely.
Yeah, Carmelo's up there. I would say for
He's
me.
better than Melo, I'm
I
sorry.
think that the thing
What
that's
the
hard.
hell
I think
you
that's hard
saying?
for me
He's
with.
better than Melo, bro.
No.
I think it's hard for me with Russ and CP3 is their washed years just really knocked them back for me.
Well, that's part of.
That's tough.
Well, then whose
That's
prime
part
was
of-
better?
Who's
I'm going
prime?
Russ. Russ's peak was better than Chris Paul's.
He had an
Period.
MVP, average
Yeah,
triple double. I
Period.
can't argue with that.
Period.
I would go for that.
But Russ's crash or collapse was definitely a lot worse than Chris Paul's.
I mean, Chris Paul had a pretty
Don't
bad
forget.
crash too.
Don't forget.
No,
It's
but
just that he wasn't on relevant teams.
Hold
Russ was
on.
on the LA Lakers, so the microscope was on, bro.
Don't
Chris
forget.
Paul went to where?
Pat,
The
Pat,
Spurs, bro.
Pat
Well,
Bev
this
took,
year.
Pat Bev took out Russ's knees. That hurt
Yeah,
a lot.
obviously.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if Pat Bev didn't dive into bro's knees in 2014? KD would have still been on the Thunder.
They would have won. They would have won.
They would have won the championship that year if
Mhm.
Patrick Beverly didn't dive into his knees, and it would have been a completely different NBA because Kevin Durant would have never went to the Warriors. Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant would have still been a dynamic duo to this day. Mark my words.
Do you think it was Adam Silver's doing for Pat Bev to injure Russ to get KD? to
No,
go
bro.
over?
No.
It's just Pat Bev being Pat Bev.
Yeah. What are
Not
your
a
thoughts on
chance.
Pat Bev? Pat Bev ruined Westbrook's career with KD in OKC, and then the whole rebuild in OKC would have never happened. No SGA, no Chet.
Damn.
Where did that check come in? I didn't even see it.
Which one?
The thoughts on Pat Bev.
Nothing.
That's what he said.
That's what I
it was
said.
just you were asking. I was,
Yeah.
Just saying that.
I was
What-
like confused. I was
what
like,
are we
where's bro reading
thinking?
that?
We're gonna close up soon too.
Yeah, we'll go
Last
for another
thoughts.
like 10, 15-ish minutes.
But yeah, no. Jason Kidd's
So
definitely not
Alex
better
said
than Russ.
Alex said Isaiah Thomas 1, Magic 2, Curry 3, Russ 4, Kid 5.
I'm fine with that list.
Okay.
I'm fine with that list. Listen, I've really become a big fan of these Alex in the chat. Both Alexes. Big shout out to you guys, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
You guys know what you're talking about. You guys know ball. Whole lot of ball knowledge coming from you guys. Big respect.
Thomas at 1, I like it. Okay.
Where do we rank Kyrie among point guards?
Kyrie is, oof. Yeah,
All time.
Yeah.
Kyrie, I mean, he's the Robin, bro. The best Robin. The
Well,
second
yeah.
best Robin. What would you
Mhm.
call him? The best Robin or the second
Who would you call the best
You
Robin?
think Scotty's first?
He has to be,
Scotty
right?
has to be first.
Yeah,
He has to be
Scotty's
first.
And Kyrie's the second best of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
Kyrie.
Yeah, that's literally how it goes.
So if we're ranking Kyrie in terms of all-time point guards,
He's definitely, I think he's
he's
definitely,
better than Jason Kidd.
I think he's definitely top 10.
He's better than Steve Nash.
Mm-hmm.
He's better than those guys.
Yeah.
He's better than, I would say he's close to top 5, to be honest. I think he's like top 6, top 7.
That's fair. I'll gladly take
I think
that.
Stockton just edges out
Pause.
Kyrie. Pause.
Pause.
What do you think? Do you think Kyrie edges out Stockton?
I'm biased. I love Kyrie. I'm a Nets fan, so I might put
Try
him
to
in
be
my,
unbiased.
I don't.
I
think-
might put him in my top 5. Not
I
gonna lie.
don't think Stockton. No.
I've Stockton.
I really
Stockton
don't.
was so good. It's just so tough. He's just the copious amount of playmaking was insane.
Alex says Kyrie's better than Dame for sure. Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
For
I think
sure.
I've always thought I love Dame, but Kyrie is just
Is he
insane.
better than Oscar Robertson?
Oh, I forgot about Oscar. Wait.
He is a point guard.
This
Oscar
changes.
Robertson.
This changes. So I would definitely Oscar. I think is better than Russ as well.
I don't think so.
I just think
No
he is.
shot.
What?
Bro, Russell Westbrook literally
What?
did everything that Oscar Robertson did and better and more flashier. Are you
But
kidding?
it's different areas of NBA, and
Exactly.
but what Oscar did back then was not ever to be done in this NBA
It's
right now.
it's tough.
talking
Oscar
about?
Robertson's in my top 15 players ever. So
Yeah.
Wait, why though?
just because he was insane. I'm looking at the I'm
bro, you
looking
don't
at the
even
career
know.
stats right now. I'm looking at the career stats right now. Olske. I mean, obviously Westbrook's scoring impact is going to be a little bit better because it's the modern NBA.
Not necessarily. Can I tell you why? They
Oh, it's
average
actually
more
not.
possessions.
So here's
They
so
average more possessions in that era of the
so here,
NBA.
so here you go. Russell Westbrook in his career averages 21 points,
Mhm.
7 rebounds,
Mhm.
8 assists, a steal and a half, and he's career shooting splits 43% from the field,
Mhm.
30% from 3,
Mhm.
77% from the free throw line.
Right.
He has he's got 2 first team All NBAs, 9 All NBA totals. He has an MVP and he has an All-Star. He has 9 All-Star appearances.
All right, let's hear Oscars.
Oscar Robertson averages 26 points,
Mhm.
7.5 rebounds,
Mhm.
9.5 assists, 1.1 steals. His career shooting splits 48% from the field. The 3-point didn't exist when he played, so it's
Right.
kind of moot point. 84% from the free throw line.
Mhm.
He has a championship. He has an MVP as well. He's got 9 first team All NBAs, 11 All NBAs total, 12-time All-Star.
So what I'm hearing is he's very similar to Russell Westbrook,
Not very similar.
except for the fact that he has a
He
championship.
has a championship.
But that was because he had Lou Alcindor on his team, who is, if you don't know, that is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yep.
So, I mean, and then also for the majority of his career, he was the number 1 option on his team. For the majority of Russell Westbrook's career, he was not the number 1 option on his team, which is the reason why his points per game is lower.
And that's why he's not. That's why he's not going to be in that category because Oscar Robertson was at one point the number one option.
Well, so is Russell Westbrook, but when you play with Kevin Durant, like
Still,
come on, like
I understand that.
if Oscar Robertson played with Kevin Durant, he would also have the same sort of
Oh well, obviously,
less shots taken. You know what I mean? So
right.
that's
But
what I'm saying.
even his worst season, like his last 2 seasons, he averaged under 16 points per game, but that was when he was 36 years old. So, you know, in his peak years, he was averaging 31, 30, 32, and yeah, he was an MVP top 5 his rookie year up until year number. Out of the 14 years he played in the NBA, he was top 5 in the MVP, and I think 11 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he was consistently like up there as one of the best players in the world. So forgot about the big O. Oh, Bob Cousy. Now Bob Cousy's a little bit below those guys,
For sure.
but you know he was also a very good Robin as well.
Yo, look what he said. Imagine prime Russ with Jokic. They get a chip. What do we think
Yeah,
about that?
100%.
I think so.
I think Jokic is a much better playoff. I wouldn't say playoff performer. He's a much better closer than Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Think about this. I don't know if you guys remember the Steven Adams Russell Westbrook pick and roll.
Oh, bro,
Dirty. In Russ's
so
prime,
good.
that was so dirty. Now, could you
Oh,
imagine that with
Wait,
Jokic?
Alex just said prime Russ, Nuggets, Melo, and Jokic.
Yes. Best team of all time.
Can I add to this?
Go.
Bubble Jamal Murray,
Okay.
prime Russell Westbrook,
Okay.
Nuggets Carmelo Anthony,
Uh-huh.
just Aaron Gordon,
Aaron Gordon.
and Nikola Jokic.
Yo, that's a
Yeah.
squad,
That's a
bro.
squad, bro.
And the bench, you have prime J.R. Smith, prime Ty Lawson, Al Harrington,
KCP,
KCP, and Kenneth Faried in his prime.
bro. Imagine, it's insane, bro.
Yeah,
The Nuggets could have a really good all-time team. I'm gonna lie.
they do. They do.
And you know, I'm curious to see. We'll talk more about them tomorrow on the show on Thursday when y'all will see it.
Yeah.
We'll go through, you know, what these little bummy teams can do.
Yeah.
In the offseason, stuff like that. And yeah, I would definitely put Oscar above Russ for those reasons.
I disagree, but that's fair. It's fine.
Yeah, I feel like you have to. That's why Russ just falls out of my top 5. So I don't know who I would say is better between O-Rob and IT. I would probably just lean IT, but I'm not sure. I'd have to see. I have to really
Why?
take a deep. Well, IT, in my opinion, is the most underrated player of all time.
I think I agree with that.
There's
Okay.
like
One of.
because like
I'm not
I
gonna
see
say he's the.
I see a lot of all times. He's like in people's top 40s, top 30s. Like
Yeah.
no,
That's kind of crazy.
he at worst needs to be top 20.
Yeah, I agree.
So
25.
I mean, I guess. So I guess the last question is, or I'll have 2 more questions before we close off the stream. If based on now that Jokic's season has concluded, where do you put him on the all-time ranking?
Oh,
He's still
he's in the same spot
top
as
10.
before.
I think he
Yeah.
definitely rose a little bit,
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
a couple
You would
spots.
need to have a championship to win.
I think he's just outside my top 11, 12.
So who do you just pass on your list?
For me, he passed Oscar Robertson, and I think he passed. I forgot who I had in that other spot. I don't remember if it was Wilt or not, but
Okay.
yeah, he's just below like the Steph and the KD, Akeem Olajuwon,
Okay.
stuff like that. He'll pass them
fine
at some
with
point,
that.
though.
I think he'll pass them, but
Yeah, he'll pass them at some point.
if he got me a championship this year, oh, he would have been past them. I'll tell you that.
Got Russ a ring.
Yeah, if he got Russ a ring, oh my lord, he would have passed him.
Alex said IT beat Magic, Bird, and Jordan.
He did.
He
That's
did.
why he's super underrated,
That's why
bro.
he's so good,
So
bro.
many people forget that. Thank you, Alex, for remembering that.
Because bro, like Joe Dumars would not be that good without IT.
In one
Yeah,
year, in
I
one
mean-
year he did that.
I don't know about
Magic,
1
Bird,
year.
and Jordan.
I don't think so. I think it
Okay.
was. I don't remember.
No, different conference,
Yeah.
different years.
That's why Akeem's so high for me because in that '95 championship, he took down like a 60-win Spurs and the Jazz, and took down I forgot who in the finals. It was
The
the
Knicks.
Knicks. Yeah, that year they were
That Knicks team was really good.
weren't they an 8 seed that year, or was that a different year?
No, that was a different year.
Oh, okay.
That Knicks team was supposed to win the finals.
Alex said Jokic. I'm assuming passed Curry for me, just below Kevin Durant. Yeah, I have Kevin Durant a little bit higher. I'm a little bit more biased, so that's
Okay.
totally fair. Now,
I'm okay
based
with that.
based off of this, let's just make a crazy call out of your finals picks. Who wins the series?
At the NBA finals.
Yeah, the series we predicted just now.
So
You're-
me,
I think Knicks win the finals, bro.
You had Knicks and who? Oh,
Knicks in Minnesota. Oh, OKC.
You had
Knicks and
OKC, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, not OKC wins
How many games?
in 6.
What about you?
Knicks in 7.
Against Minnesota. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think if Minnesota goes, Knicks win. If OKC goes, OKC wins.
Okay.
If the Knicks close out the Pacers in 6 games or less, OKC in 5. If the Knicks wind up going to 7 with Indiana and somehow winning, they are getting swept faster than you can say hi. But I'll go OKC in 5. I think the Knicks get a pity win to prevent a sweep or some sort of
Okay.
thing like that. You know, they'll go down 3-0, they'll get a win, and Stephen A will be like, "Orange and blue skies, we're coming back from
I know.
3-0. New
I
York,
know,
stand
right?
up." But no, it's not happening. But yeah, guys, that's the end of the stream. Gone for about 2 hours. I know we said we wouldn't, but you know, it's just
It's
what
fine.
happens this
Yeah,
time of year, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tune
I
in
need to go
tomorrow.
to bed.
Yeah, you need to go to bed. You are exhausted. So, but yeah, tune in this Thursday. Episode 58 drops, and you know that'll kind of be that. And keep an eye out for anything that happens along with the NBA, and maybe if any of these series go 7, we'll maybe do a live watch along of them when the time comes, stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, obviously it's the end of the stream. If you guys did enjoy, be sure drop a like on the stream. Even you two watching it on your phones right now, like the stream, helps
Yeah,
the
we have
algorithm
it.
out. Subscribe to the channel. Try and get us to 6K by the end of the NBA Finals. Basically, got to the end of June to get us there. Discord server, pinned comment above or below, wherever you see the pinned comment in the chat. Check out our socials in the description below. Gio to a million Instagram followers. Guys, do we have anything to say? Gio, do you want to leave a word for the people that comment at home? They're still with the flow?
Nah, that's only for the podcast, bro.
All right, that's fair. Totally fair. So do we have anything else to say? Alex said, shout out fellow Rust fan Gio.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Let's
said it?
go.
Which Alex is that?
Alex.
Yeah, ALX.
Hey, Alex, my boy.
ALX.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Happy to have you here, man. Welcome.
ALX. Is your name Alex or is it just we call you ALX?
Oh, my head spasmed.
Let us know.
Yeah, before we
before
close
we
off,
leave.
we'll figure that
Are
out.
you Alex too, or are you just ALX?
I mean,
like
we've
the
been calling him
letters?
Alex for 2 streams now. He probably would have told us something different
Right.
if it
Yeah.
wasn't. But
I assume
Yeah.
it's just Alex.
We'll see.
shout out fellow Rust fan Gio.
We
Shout
know,
out,
we
bro.
know a full Alex with this
My
full
boy.
name. And
Yeah.
ALX.
We had about 50 people in the YouTube stream and the Twitter stream today, so thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
And we had pretty much the same amount in total from YouTube as well. He said it's Alex.
It's Alex. Perfect.
So-
Both Alexes.
So yeah, we'll refer to you as Alex, and we'll refer to the other one as Alex C or Alex Colburn.
Alex
or-
Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll differentiate
Yeah.
it. So obviously, that's pretty much it from us. Do you guys have anything else left to say?
No, we'll see you guys tomorrow after recording.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
They'll see us Thursday.
Absolutely. So we hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. We love you all endlessly. And you'll see us on Thursday in episode 58.
Yep.
Have a good rest of your night. Go Pacers, go Timberwolves, go Thunder. And
Knicks.
yeah,
And-
sure.
Yes.
Definitely.
Go Knicks.
Yes. So if Zach Zarba's reffing any of these Knicks games, I'm not watching.
Oh, great.
So
Is that
just-
the guy we met on the cruise?
no, that's the guy that handed the Knicks those 2 wins against the Sixers and the Pacers last year.
Okay.
So shout out Mahat Kogut though. That was the guy. Met his parents on the cruise.
Got it.
But yeah, have a great rest of your night, guys, and we'll see you all on Thursday. We'll be
Bye,
back
all.
streaming next Monday. We'll see you then. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.